All right, everyone, welcome to the Mangalorian. We have arrived at volume 40 of the Dragon Ball manga, the original masterwork of Akira Toriyama. And today we will continue our look back at Toriyama's original work, Dragon Ball. So I'm Danny, Jordan's over here.
What's up,
The
guys?
link to Jordan's manga is in the description. Brand new, check it out. Couple new pages, no, couple new chapters. New chapters or new pages?
We're going to be dropping 2 pages a week if we can.
Okay. So it's not a full chapter yet.
No.
Okay, so check that out for sure. Let me paint the picture for those who may have missed the previous Mangalorians, even though I do think that you should go back. This series is intended to be seen, from volume 1 to volume 42 in order. Like you're supposed to see it like that. So let me paint the picture here. The Earth has never been in a bigger pinch than they're in right now. Gohan is training in the other world. They think he's dead. Goku and Vegeta are both dead, but Goku is on Earth for one day, teaching Goten and Trunks the fusion pose because they think this is the only thing they can do, the only hope they have of defeating Majin Buu. Majin Buu under the control of Babidi because Babidi has the spell to reseal him. Is now he's put the Earth in a complete chokehold here.
Yep.
Basically saying he wants to fight Goten, Trunks, and Piccolo, and if they don't get it, they're going to be destroying city after city after city. They've never been in a bigger pinch. The stakes have never been higher. Majin Buu might not be everyone's favorite arc, but there's no denying that the Earth has never been in this much danger. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think the stakes are like way higher. Well, I think, okay, what's really interesting about what they do with the Buu Saga is he kind of does something similar to this with the other arcs, but it's less on the nose. So like with Frieza, for example, he was kind of collected until he realized he wasn't going to get immortality, right? And then he snapped. Cell was fine until, he didn't feel like he was going to get to fight anybody worth his time, and then he wanted to destroy the Earth. Well, the thing that I think makes Buu really interesting is he's unpredictable. We don't know when exactly he's going to snap. We don't know what exactly is going to cause him to do so. He's basically like way more chaotic than the previous villains, and I think that's what makes this. I think that makes this arc feel much more dangerous and unpredictable. So.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So we are on chapter 473. Goku is teaching Goten and Trunks the fusion pose. This is where they have to basically even out their power as close as possible and that they can, and they have to make sure they get the pose exactly right. The Metamor fusion pose is very fickly, so the pose has to be perfect before they can truly get it. Goku here is testing them as Super Saiyans, seeing how strong they can get. And you have to understand this about Goten and Trunks. Goten and Trunks Super Saiyan 1, they're not as strong as Vegeta, Gohan, and Goku are now. But for a couple of kids, bro, like we have to remember this is
I remember, like, in Yo-Son Goku,
huge for an 8-year-old.
In Yo-Son Goku, Goku makes a joke about how the kids could easily handle Frieza. So, yeah.
Well, yeah. They have incredible potential. Early super chat here from 227060. How did you first learn of Super Saiyan 3? I saw a toy circa 2000. No, I first heard of it from people in school who were talking about Dragon Ball Z episodes that had not aired in America yet. And that's when I first found out about Super Saiyan 2 and 3 before I even saw them. And then I got my hands on the tape of these episodes that we're about to go through today, and I got to see it like for the first time. What about you?
I think the first time I saw Super Saiyan 3 was in the magazine that I talked about in previous Mangalorians that I found in a flea market. I think that was the first time I had seen Kid, Goten, and Trunks as Super Saiyans as well as Super Saiyan 3. I think I actually got spoiled on that.
Well, I think a lot of us did because the American version was so far behind, and there were pictures all over the internet of like everything.
Yeah,
GT.
I remember very distinctly thinking that it was kind of goofy looking because I wasn't expecting his hair to just get longer like that. But it grew on me. I ended up whenever I saw it in the actual Boo Saga, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I like it.
Right. And for me, the thing that I love about that era, that if you started watching Dragon Ball after that era, you're never going to really understand. But if you were in the fandom back when it was, when during this era, when not everything was out, you would have had this wonderful feeling of discovery because you're seeing these pictures of Majin Buu and Goten Trunks, Gotenks, and Super Saiyan 3, and you have no context for what's going on because you've never seen it before. So instead, you just try to figure out what's going on, and you start in your head like, okay, well, what's going on? There's a lot of different. It was fun. It was fun not really knowing what was going on. There was obviously misinformation back then, but I feel like the Dragon Ball fandom on the internet back then was not about misinformation. It was about giving accurate information with mistranslations. That's really what the issue was. There was a lot of mistranslations. We didn't have Herms until a little while after that, and people like that. Herms has been the fandom since like 2000, bro.
Somebody asked me if I have the rest of the dragons. No, I don't. I actually just bought this one at a Comic-Con recently, and it is a treat. Like I normally don't get to splurge like that, so like this is a treat. But if I had the rest of them, I would show them to you, but I don't.
Well, you should get that new red Porunga, bro. The one that flicked
Yeah,
away
it looks
Goma.
awesome. I'd love to have that. Looks awesome.
Yeah, it does. So what's going on now in the manga is Majin Buu and Babidi have arrived at the Western capital, at West City, and this is obviously where Dr. Brief and his wife are, which is Bulma's parents. And we see Trunks and Bulma reacting here like, okay, this is an issue. Most of us are up here in Kami's place, but we have family down there, and they're very, very concerned about what's going to happen to the city. So let's see here. So Goku decides, here's the plan. Goku, because they realize they need the Dragon Radar. The Dragon Radar is at Dr. Brief's house. So here's what they realize, or here's what they come up with. I'm sorry. Trunks is going to go to the Western capital, go to Capsule Corp, and get the Dragon Radar. Because if that's destroyed, they're not going to be able to get the Dragon Balls to wish everybody back when this is all over. Meanwhile,
this is a really cool way of like giving Trunks like a little bit more of a more prominent role. I really like that.
Yes, and it fits because it's his grandparents that are in danger. Meanwhile, Goku's going to go distract Majin Buu. Ultimately, Goku and Majin Buu's fight here is just a distraction so that Buu does not blow up the city and so that Trunks can get the Dragon Radar. It's not even about Goku beating him or not beating him. One of the things that irritate me, and you and I have talked about it, is when people say shit like, well, Super Saiyan 3 sucks, they never beat a main villain. And I hate when people are so rigid with their opinions. Like, that's not an opinion. That's not an opinion. That's like saying, I don't like VHS tapes because they're shaped like squares. That's stupid, bro. Or rectangles. Like,
Well,
that's dumb. The Super Saiyan 3 needed to be introduced here because there's no logical way that Super Saiyan 2 Goku could have handled Buu long enough to survive.
Yeah, and they also, the people who say that don't have like a strict, consistent definition of what a win is or defeat is anyway. You know what I mean? Like they'll like that all of that stuff is inconsistent. But I think that narrative weight and value is much more important than whether or not Goku kills someone or defeats a villain. Like, and I think Super Saiyan 3 is really, really cool. Even though, as we've talked about in the previous Mangalorians, it does seem like it's kind of an afterthought. what Toriyama ultimately did with it, I think is great. So
we're going to talk about Super Saiyan 3 here in just a moment in detail. Airdog says Goku could have just teleported to Bulma's house. That's true, but perhaps he couldn't have sensed the power. He's actually pretty right on that. That would have been a quicker solution.
Yeah.
But he would have had to have
then
gone.
He wouldn't have been able to distract Buu. So I think
yeah, that's true. Buu could have just blown it up and that's it. It would have been over.
Yeah, I think Toriyama already thought that way. I think he thought, well, maybe Goku could go do this, and because he could, I need to have it to where he has to go do something else. That way, he can keep Trunks relevant, and I guarantee you, he thought of that. So,
I love Goku's confrontation with Buu here. I have nostalgia for it because the first Majin Buu fan sub bootleg tape I ever got was this fight. And I have nostalgia for it because, it was cool to have it. Goku teleports right in front of them and he's like, yo. It says hello here, but in the anime, he's like, yo. Xavier says, SS3 Goku beat Hirudegarn, Fat Janemba, and Trunks. Trunks? Oh, yeah, and Super. Yeah, but people, okay, Xavier, and you know this, bro. People in the fandom sometimes judge these forms based on whether or not they killed a main villain.
Yeah.
Goku did not kill. He did fight Buu, three different versions of Buu with Super Saiyan 3, but he didn't kill him. And so because he didn't kill him, in their head, it's like, well, that form sucks. And it's one of those things that gets under my skin because it makes me realize that a lot of people in this fandom still think like children. And they don't go deeper. And it's one of those things that not a lot of folks can relate to with me. One of those opinions where I'm just like thinking it's kind of stupid. Like, I think that's a stupid opinion.
Well,
if you don't like Super Saiyan 3, that's fine. It's not my favorite form, but at least give me an actual reason why you don't like it. Not, it didn't kill a main villain, so it sucks. If Goku didn't have Super Saiyan 3 right here, this fight would have never made sense. End of story. That's it. And there's no arguing that. That's it. You can't argue that. That's it. It's done. Go ahead, bro.
I think the reason it gets on your nerves and my nerves particularly is because it shows a lack of critical thinking. I think
that really gets on my nerves, dude. Yeah. There's a lot of that. And it's the biggest thing that I've dealt with in the fandom is people lying, whether it be about Dragon Ball or about me, that get under my skin, and the lack of critical thinking. It does bother me, but unfortunately, it's just the way it is. Like, it's a very large series, you know? And again, if you don't like Super Saiyan 3, that's cool. I'm not trying to convince you to like it. I'm just saying it wasn't wasted. It's not a wasted form. So this little confrontation here is a lot of fun. First of all, Goku has a very smug. I always like Toriyama's like smug Goku face. We see it also on some of the promotional art done by Nakatsuru and other artists. Like, Goku's smug face, it puts a smile on my face because, he's confident that he can, distract Buu. And I do like this here. Like, Goku says, Vegeta underestimated you. You're really powerful, right? And he's like, look, he goes, look, the guys that you're looking for are coming. But in the meantime, they're training to beat you. And then, they're laughing or whatever. And most of this is Buu is Babidi and Goku going back and forth. And then Goku straight up says, I'm going to have to stall you, which is funny because Goku is so honest sometimes. You shouldn't be telling him that, bro, but he's telling him that anyways.
Yeah.
What Jonathan said here is true. I love Goku's shit-eating grin. Like, it's great.
It's the shit-eating grin and the attitude. The honesty that you're talking about also comes off not only as confidence, but almost like, just pure confidence. Like, in a way that's like, it's not false confidence, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's genuine confidence, because people can have confidence, but sometimes it feels flimsy and weak,
like Vegeta.
But in this case, it feels like actual, honest confidence, which is awesome.
Xavier says SS3 isn't wasted, but underutilized mostly. Maybe here's the thing, man. It's the last form that Toriyama introduced in the original manga. In order for it to have been utilized more, he would have had to have continued the manga. So at this point, like, what are you gonna do? He didn't continue the manga. He gave us an ending, and there wasn't enough time. At least Daima sort of brought it back into the zeitgeist because we saw Vegeta do it. We saw Goku do it both as a kid and as an adult. So I do think that in Daima, it was, and then Xavier says even in GT it was underutilized. I agree with you on that. I agree with him on that. I think GT could have done more with the form. So here, Goku and Buu are confronting each other. Now, if you're a manga reader and you're reading this for the first time in Japan and Shonen Jump, you're reading it, you're thinking there's no fucking way Goku can do shit against this guy because we just saw Super Saiyan 2 Majin Vegeta get completely smashed and with no hope. We just saw that a few chapters ago. So if you're a reader of this story, you're like, well, what the fuck is he going to do? And this is where like things get interesting. So it says here, I'll still kill him, and then Boo's like, how should I kill you? And then basically, and then here's the part where this is sort of Toriyama breaking the fourth wall, but it's also him, Babidi, talking to the people of the planet, where he says, watch this, Earthlings. This is what will happen to those who defy us. So he's looking at us, right? Like the reader, but he's also looking at them. Now, Goku then powers up to Super Saiyan 1, and they can already sense that Goku's really strong. I mean, right here, Trunks is like, he is as strong as Father. Talk about Vegeta. And then Goku, and then Babidi's like, Vegeta did the same thing. Goku's like, okay, then I'll go beyond the surpassed Super Saiyan levels. Right. And then he goes to 2, and you can see the lightning here. Now, this is the first time that Super Saiyan 2 is referred to as Super Saiyan 2. I talked about this in multiple videos, most notably the Super Saiyan 2 Explain video. When Gohan first went Super Saiyan 2, both in the manga and in the anime, it did not have an official name. It didn't. What happened was they released a pamphlet with one of the specials, and the pamphlet listed Gohan's, new form from the Cell Saga as Super Saiyan grade 5. Because we had grade 1, Vegeta's buff form, Trunks' buff form Super Saiyan regular is grade 1. Grade 2 is Vegeta's buff form. Grade 3 is Trunks' really buff form. Grade 4 is Goku and Gohan's form after leaving the Rosat. And grade 5 was Super Saiyan 2. So Super Saiyan 2's original name was grade 5. This is the first time that Super Saiyan 2 is actually called Super Saiyan 2. Yep. I like that because it shows Toriyama's simplicity. It's very simple, and I think, do you think, bro, in your opinion, that if Dragon Ball happened now, that the fans would bitch about the forms having simple names like this? Because I think they would. I think people bitch about the stupidest shit. Yeah. And they would have been like, oh, so he's just calling it Super Saiyan 2? That's so lazy. Oh my God. You know what I mean? Damn well they'd be bitching about this shit. Bro, listen.
I like how Goku, this is something a lot of people don't really pay attention to, is the fact that he really did not want to use Super Saiyan 3 at all. It's not even necessarily that he was hiding it. Like, he just did not want to use it at all. Like, and I think that that's interesting. Now, when we get into the Super Saiyan 3 transformation, it becomes obvious why he didn't want to use it at all. But people think that Goku was just like lying and hiding it just for like reasons. They don't really.
Right here, you actually see Goku saying he didn't want to use it. Go ahead, man.
Well, it's just like people, you know, people obscure his actual reasoning for wanting to hide it. You know, people think that he was just lying and holding back for the sake of it, and that's just not the case at all. You know.
Now here's the thing. Here's the thing. Because Average Joe in the chat brought up this point. Yes, Super Saiyan 3 is a stamina drain, but Goku did not know that, and neither did Toriyama or the readers. At this point, when he was writing the manga, we did not know that Super Saiyan 3 was a stamina drain. That was not revealed yet. That would not be revealed until later at the end of the series during the fight with Kid Buu. Now, that's something people have to remember, that at this point, Super Saiyan 3 was not really a stamina drain. But what we did find out during this fight is that Super Saiyan 3 does shorten the time span that Goku is on Earth because of the energy output that he put out. So Toriyama, and again, this is sharp, young Toriyama, took that idea and then during the Buu saga added to it by revealing that the living body was not properly trained to handle Super Saiyan 3 for a long time. You know how many times Jordan, you know this because you were there with me. How many fucking times did I get the question during Daima about why Vegeta didn't do Super Saiyan 3? And it's like, this question was answered in 1995, homie. This is not. And then literally in Daima, Goku says he's running out of Super Saiyan 3 when he was fighting Goma. Like, literally, they remind us. It's just like, and it's not even motherfuckers, it's not even a good enough explanation.
Well,
they didn't say that. And then when Goku said it, okay, are you happy now?
Well, I think a lot of people just straight up don't understand the mechanics of Super Saiyan as a transformation, because a lot of people just kind of look at it as a transformation. They don't really understand what's happening beneath the surface. And as
Jordan, it was explained, man.
I know it was, but genuinely and generally people don't know. But just to give you guys like a quick rundown, because I've seen some people in the chat seem to suggest that Goku at some point can just completely get rid of the stamina drain from it, Super Saiyan 3. I will say that I do think it's possible for him to cut down on the amount of stamina.
And I actually think that by the time we got to Battle of Gods, he did improve on that. That's a theory, though. That's just a theory. That is not anything that's been revealed. That's just my own theory.
So in Dragon Ball, and this is something that a lot of people don't know, particularly when it comes to Super Saiyan, the farther they push Super Saiyan and the stronger they get, the angrier they actually get. And they actually have to control that anger in order to be able to control their ki properly. So Super Saiyan as a transformation has always been fight or flight mode. It's essentially, anger is basically just like, it's what we as martial artists have to deal with in the heat of the moment whenever we're fighting someone. And sometimes if you're not careful, that anger can cause you to do things out of character, but it can also make you stronger through adrenaline and things like that. So Super Saiyan 3 is essentially like pushing that effect that us martial artists experience mid-battle to the highest extent that he possibly can. So it's going to drain a lot of his stamina, because he's essentially pushing his body to, produce more ki by taking advantage of his rage. So it's going to be more. He can, of course, control it and be in better control of himself, and manage his energy better. But he's always going to deal with the side effects of being in an ecstatic state like that. When your heart's beating rapidly because you're excited in battle, it's going to have a physiological impact on your body no matter what. That's just how it works. And, in this particular case, and what's really cool about Super Saiyan 3 is that I think part of the reason that Goku was skeptical to use it is because not only does he understand that, but he also understands that he has to have a lot of control. And one of the guides that I've read about Super Saiyan 3, it states that Goku actually seems more calm in Super Saiyan 3 because
he's trying to control it.
Yeah, he has to put more active effort into controlling the rage that he's dealing with as a side effect of the form. So
I like that Vegeta Super Saiyan 3 against Tamagami 2. He was pretty similar there, where he was sort of chill,
Yeah.
Let me get this question from Kiryu. First, actually, before I get that, he says Wrath of the Dragon movie's the only time SS3 was utilized. No, you're wrong. He used it against Janemba. Kiryu says SS3 was used just fine. It helped make Ultimate look better, as Elder Kai said, as they didn't need fancy transformations. I don't think that the form was invented to make Ultimate look better. That's your viewpoint, and I get where you're coming from, because you're right. The old Kai, and we're going to get to that probably in the next volume, the old Kai's introduction of Ultimate, so to speak, is a much, much, much simpler alternative to other transformations. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to tell you the canon right now, motherfucker. And this is not for you, Kiryu. This is for everybody in the chat. The only reason that Toriyama came up with a new form for Goku is because he knew that if Goku fought Majin Buu in Super Saiyan 2, it would not make sense for him to distract him, because Vegeta got destroyed and annihilated in Super Saiyan 2, and he already wrote that Goku and Vegeta were close to power. So what's stopping Buu from humiliating him here? He had to come up with a new form for it to make sense. Now, was it a retcon? Absolutely. Is it something Toriyama planned going back to the start of the arc? No, but we do have some sketches that were revealed, and I've done videos on this, especially recently with Vegeta Super Saiyan 3, because that form resembles some of Toriyama's early sketches for him planning a new form for Goku. But we don't know exactly when he was going to introduce it. Now here we are. So what Goku does here, there's the smug look. He realizes he's going to have to use the form. So he powers back down to base. And then he's like, I want to explain to you what a Super Saiyan is. And Babidi's like, who cares? Of course, it's explaining it to the audience. Toriyama's doing this to explain to the audience. So he powers up and says, this is Super Saiyan. Then powers up more. And notice, I want you to notice something. I have talked about this in videos before, but not everybody's seen all the videos. You can tell Goku's using Super Saiyan 2 because the bang on, if you look at Goku Super Saiyan 1 on the right, he's got two bangs coming down over his left eye. Super Saiyan 2, he has one bang and the other bang goes up. This design was kept throughout all of Dragon. Nobody notices this shit, bro, until Daima even. Toriyama and Toei and even Toyotaro kept this design. How can you tell Super Saiyan 2? It's not just the electricity. The bang is up for 2, down for 1.
Horns. He's got 2 horns coming out of the side of his head right here too.
Yeah,
like
kind of. 2 hair horns.
Yeah, they go like downwards. Yeah.
That's the trick, y'all, on how to tell the difference. So he says, this is the Super Saiyan which surpasses the first one that you just saw. You could say the Super Saiyan 2. So that's Gohan's form against Cell. Goku was able to easily tap into it. I love Super Saiyan 2. Now we have a name for it. And this is to go further beyond, which it says the one that once again surpassed its predecessor. Now, there are other translations, especially in the anime, where obviously in the dub, because the dub scene is like my favorite English dub scene, because I like the music, the Super Saiyan 3 theme that Julius Dobosh came up with. Not Bruce Falconer, Julius Dobosh, the guy who really made the music. It's a beautiful scene. And in that scene, Sean Schemmel's like, and this is to go further beyond. In the Japanese version, Nozawa says, now I'm going to go further beyond that. So it's the same thing, bro. That translation is pretty accurate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
As much as I shit on the dub for fucking shit up, they didn't fuck that up. And I got to give them credit where credit is due. Xavier says, wait, hold on. Did I get the right? Wait, hold on. Let me make sure I got the right super chat. No,
I don't think we had read that one yet.
Wait. Okay, we did Kiryu. I know we did Kiryu. Hold on, y'all. Okay, Xavier is next. Okay, so he says, hold on. Super Saiyan 3 became my favorite transformation from this scene. Fusion Reborn and the Dragon Fist. I didn't grow up with the Falconer score, but I love the theme for SS3. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the Falconer score. I don't hate it. What I hate is Bruce Falconer, the way he sort of, I don't hate Bruce Falconer, but he's kind of a douchebag because he never credited the musicians. And Jordan, you're a musician. Just imagine how fucked up it would be if you're working on the biggest television show. Dragon Ball Z, next to South Park, was the biggest animated show of the late 90s. That's a fact. You can look that up. And you're fucking working on this shit as a musician and you don't even get credit for it. You know how much Scott Morgan and those guys got paid? $11 an hour, bro. Can you imagine making $11 an hour making music for the biggest show on television, bro? Those guys should be rolling in. They should be rolling in money, bro.
Yeah, they should. I agree, but I'm at least for some sort of silver lining. At least it eventually came out who did what, you know.
Yeah, and I was a big part of that because
yeah, you were.
Bruce Faulkner taking credit for this shit pissed me off. I don't like that. So 227060 says SS4 equals grade 7. We got one form for each Dragon Ball. I don't know how you figure you go from. Wait a minute. Let me think for a minute. Oh, he's saying that okay. He's saying Super Saiyan 3 is grade 6 and 7, grade 7 is 4. That's one way to look at it. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
I've never thought that before. All right. Xavier then says, I kind of wish Toriyama kept the tail. You know what? I kind of like that design choice too. What do you think?
I think it would have been cool. I mean, I wouldn't have minded it too much. The only issue is it's you know, would he lose it when he powered down like with the new Super Saiyan 4 and all that good stuff, you know?
Right.
Or would there be implications if he saw the moon in Super Saiyan 3 with the tail or whatever, you know? Like there's all kinds of like little details you'd have to work around if you gave him the tail. The thing I would like about him having the tail is it would reinforce this idea, because there was a lot of people who were confused about this in Daima, but like the more a Saiyan powers up, because they're powering up through their heart beating through rage, it's telling their body that they're in a survival situation. So they develop traits similar to that of a great ape, because the great ape was their original survival mechanism. So, you know, it would kind of
and it takes it back to the beginning of the series.
Yeah, it would kind of reinforce this idea that Super Saiyan and the great ape are connected, because they are. Not because they're the same form, but because Saiyans are literally great apes. And they've been using, you know, prior to using Ki as a survival mechanism, they used to use the great ape form as a survival mechanism. It made them stronger, bigger, more powerful, you know, destructive. So, you know, it kind of draws a line between those two things in a way that Toriyama already has before, but, you know, it would make it that much more blatant. So.
Spider-Man says that we were in the Trunks saga in North America, and Spanish, they were already in the Majin Buu saga. Well, first of all, North America, okay, the Spanish dub was done in Mexico. Mexico's part of North America. So I think what you mean is United States, Canada, the English dub. Second of all, that's not entirely correct. When we got the Trunks saga, which is the Android saga in 2000, Dragon Ball Z was already done in Mexico. They were airing reruns. So they got Dragon Ball Z way before we did. And it was already, I think they were on GT when we started getting that. So yeah, Spanish dub got it way before we did. But yeah, so I love this panel right here, bro. Look at that badassery, bro. I'm going to take a screenshot of that real quick, bro. You can't even tell me that's not some badassery right there. Right? Like, you know what I'm saying?
That is awesome. Yeah. It's like,
that's like one of the top 5 Toriyama panels, bro.
It's like an exaggerated Super Saiyan 2. It's really cool. It's almost like an in-between form, you know? I think that's what makes it look cool, because it's like a rare.
Well, yeah, because he was starting the transformation.
Yeah.
No, Super Saiyan 3. Super Saiyan 3 in the anime is is phenomenal.
Oh
But in
yeah,
the manga, it's great too.
they have
So
gold. It
here,
has gold lightning in the anime, and it looks so freaking cool, dude. It like I remember whenever he was fighting Boo, like it you could like they do a pretty good job making them feel like they're powered up from Ki, before, like even with Super Saiyan and stuff like that. But with Super Saiyan 3, it really felt like he was trying to contain like a massive amount of energy. Like you could literally like see
right here.
visually, yeah, you could visually see that like there's like a more energy inside than there ever has been before. They really visually portrayed that well in the anime. So,
And I've talked about this. The thing about Super Saiyan 3, the reason why the stamina drain is there is because Super Saiyan 3 is a very large energy conductor. His energy projection here is beyond anything we've ever seen, including Gohan against Cell. So it's like it's almost like he becomes like a fusion. Try to follow me here. It's almost like Goku becomes like a fusion power plant, not fusion like fusion
no, I
pose,
understand
but like
exactly what you mean.
nuclear fission. Yeah, because he's
Yeah,
giving off like almost like a radiation. There's so
yeah.
much energy there. Justin says, "Hey, Spider-Man, tell me which of your villains went to the Diddy parties." That's for Spider-Man. That's not for me, bro. Spider-Man, you answer that in the chat, bro. Or maybe he went. Maybe Peter Parker stuck his Peter out. So here's the thing. So as Goku's transforming, we get a look at Kaio, and he says, "Stop it, Goku. If you keep using that, you'll lose the remaining time you have left." So that's when we first got to note that when you have your 24 hours on Earth, it's limited. Now, the reason as to why Toriyama wrote this in there is because he had to come up with a reason for Goku to leave earlier than the end of the day so that Goten and Trunks could be the last heroes left. It's all about drama. So he basically said, okay, I'm going to come up with this new form, and this new form will lead to a reason as to why Goku has to leave early. And that's one of the things that I really like about young Toriyama is that Dragon Ball's got a couple of plot holes and logic holes, but I feel like young Toriyama really did make a concerted effort to make things make sense.
Yeah, he did, and he also was really good at like changing things up on the fly and like
And having
subverting
it make
expectations.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, because like when we things, there's a lot of retcons in Dragon Ball. And when you have that many retcons, you're gonna have some that do not make sense just because of the just the numerical number of retcons. But Toriyama, not every time, but this was a good idea, I think, because he was able
yeah,
to get past it. So there's Goku with his incredible energy projection. In the anime, obviously, it was a longer transformation. Manga's usually shorter. Their people are losing their minds. Now we get a little shot of Ten Shinhan dressed like the Dragon Quest V protagonist there with Chaozu. We haven't seen them at all in this arc. I like when Toriyama would show characters that we haven't seen. And then here we see the hair growing and this massive explosion. And then we have the full page panel of Super Saiyan 3. I think Super Saiyan 3 looks badass. When I was younger, I did think that the long hair was a bit much. However, the missing eyebrows was a great touch. And I remember Toriyama specifically said that the reason as to why he took off the eyebrows is to make Super Saiyan 3 look more menacing.
yeah. And another thing I think we should probably go over. I mean, the more menacing, he definitely looks more great ape like. That's for sure.
More angry, more badass, more serious.
Yes.
Wait, hold on. Trenton says, did Toriyama use Raditz design as inspiration for Super Saiyan 3? No, because Raditz has eyebrows. However, there is an early version of SS3 where he did keep his eyebrows. So I think that was a late change. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, I think the long hair has just always been a means of like looking wild. I don't think it's that Raditz was the inspiration. I think he was just thinking something similar to whenever he made Raditz, where it's like it makes him look wild and less controlled and more savage.
Like a rock star.
Yeah, but so One thing I want to talk about, because this is something that a lot of people overlook about Super Saiyan 3, and that is how it parallels the Majin transformation, the Majin form that Vegeta has.
Okay,
So
go for it.
so Super Saiyan 3 and Majin Vegeta are heaven and hell themed transformations. A lot of people don't notice this because it's not like super obvious, but if you really pay attention, that's the theme of each transformation. Goku only has Super Saiyan 3 as a result of doing everything that he's done in the past as a hero, earning the right to go to heaven, earning the right to keep his body, and earning the right to train in heaven is the reason that Goku has Super Saiyan 3. Okay. It's almost like a gift to Goku for being who he has been in the past. And a lot of people, and that's why, like, this is one of the reasons that I grew to love Super Saiyan 3, because once I realized this, it made me appreciate it so much more. The
And I want to
only
say what you're doing is you're basically connecting everything. I think a
yeah,
lot of people sometimes view Dragon Ball Z as like Saiyan Saga, Frieza Saga, the different arcs, but
yes.
it's all one big story. So Goku earned the respect of the afterlife because he saved the world from Demon King Piccolo.
Yeah.
Kami is the one that talked to King Yema off screen about Goku keeping his body. And so if that had never happened, if Goku had never saved the Earth from Demon King Piccolo, he would have never been given his body back. The Saiyans would have wiped everybody out in the Saiyan saga because Goku couldn't come back with Kaioken, and that would have been the end. And
Yeah.
we sure as shit wouldn't get this.
So he gets this as a result of getting to train with basically an immortal body in heaven,
From
and being able
saving the
to,
world.
yeah, and getting to put, like, his opportunity to push Super Saiyan this far is a side effect of him having the opportunity to be in the afterlife and power up without any of the limits of the mortal world. So this is like a heaven themed transformation in that sense. Now, we all know that Vegeta talks about going to hell as Majin Vegeta. He also lets his evil nature consume him. And what's really interesting about all of this is, and we'll see this here in a little bit, it eventually leads to someone coming from hell and someone coming from heaven and coming together to create the Ultimate Warrior, which is
Vegito.
which is so freaking cool. Like, that's one of the most underrated aspects of, like, this arc is the warrior coming from heaven and the warrior coming from hell, and they coming together to create the Ultimate Warrior. Like, that is so unbelievable. Not only in, like, symbolism, but just in concept. It's awesome. So
And on top of that, these two warriors, one that represents heaven and one that represents hell, the yin and the yang, are also rivals. And that actually, people talk about the quote unquote rival boost. It's not something that there's no like guidebook that tells you what the rival boost is, but it's because it's not so much that they were rivals, it's more so that they were so hungry to get stronger that it makes Vegito even stronger than he would be if it was a regular fusion.
yeah,
I've seen some people debate that Vegito would be stronger than Gokan, which is Goku and Gohan's fusion, even though Gokan would have ultimate because of that rival boost. I'm not here to give you a number because that number was never revealed.
yeah,
Rival boost number was never revealed, okay? But it's more about the fact that Goku and Vegeta are just that type of fighter, and the way they can bring this back, like that concept back, is if we ever see Gogeta, Ultra Instinct, Ultra Ego fusion. If we ever see Goku and Vegeta fuse again, and we see Gogeta or Vegito tapping into UI and UE, that's an even bigger version of this. You
yeah.
know what I
For
mean?
that.
Like power wise, like that I made a video about it called The Strongest Fusion. An Ultra Gogeta with both UI and UE is like incredibly beyond. Like, think about that.
Yeah,
All right, let's move on. So Goku's in Super Saiyan 3. Everybody is shocked And then he says, this is the Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyajin Suri. That's how she says it. Super Saiyajin Suri. And then this is crazy. Gohan can sense his power. Now, I want you to understand something. You have to understand how big of a deal this is. Gohan is not even on Earth. Gohan is
He's
not
technically not even in the universe.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
He's not in the Universe 7 globe. He is on Kaioshinkai. If you've ever seen Toriyama's map of the universe, the Kaio planet where that the Supreme Kaiser from orbits the universe. It exists outside the universe. He's not even in Universe 7, and Gohan can sense him. Yep. So you can't have any more forms after this, bro. Toriyama had to end the series here until, of course, like the Super era. But I mean, you know, for this era, how do you go higher than that?
Well, I guess you make it to where people can't be sensed at all. That's what he was like, you know.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. And even Supreme Kai is like, wait a minute, what? How is he so strong? You know, how do we feel his power? Because again, he's far away, bro.
Yep.
And then you know, and then Babidi's like, whatever. And then he's like, let's finish this already. So now the fight actually begins. I actually like this fight a lot, especially in the manga. I love these panels so very much. There's something about, okay, listen to me. There's something about the way Toriyama draws Super Saiyan 3. I'm not taking anything away from Nakatsuru or Maeda or Yamamura or all these other Dragon Ball artists, but there's a specific way that Toriyama draws Super Saiyan 3 to where he makes it look like Goku's eyes. It has to be the lack of eyebrows. Goku just looks like he's not fucking around anymore, and Goku would make funny faces even with the previous two Super Saiyan forms. But with this one, it's just all like business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. So Goku grabs Majin Buu and starts to pummel him. I actually love, I love the way he's like fucking, he's doing the yo-yo thing or the paddle with the ball.
Yeah. Boo, 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 boo.
Boo, 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 boo. That's so creative. Flings Majin Buu around. Majin Buu comes back, fires a bunch of ki blasts at Goku, or now I guess it would be considered magic, right? Now that Daima kind of explained that.
Yeah.
Goku deflects all of them like fast. This is a fun little fight. And I love how Buu is still in the fight, and I love Buu's face right here. This is now, I want you to understand something, because Jordan can talk about this too. This face that Buu is making is exactly the same face that Goku made when he was about to transform. This is Toriyama telling us, the audience, you have to read into Dragon Ball a bit deeper. It ain't, anytime somebody says it's not that deep, it's usually because they're a fucking Nimrod. What Toriyama's telling us here is that Majin Buu is enjoying this fight. This would translate all the way to the end when Goku decided to have Majin Buu reincarnated and asked King Yema to have him reincarnated as Oob, because it shows that underneath all of that flab, Majin Buu has the potential to be a martial artist. Yep. More than Frieza, more than Cell. He's enjoying the fight. And I love this. It's so subtle. But I don't know what the fuck Toriyama was on, bro, but he made a lot of these things work back then.
Yeah, Goku's awakening his excitement for battle. It's super obvious, but also awesome. But yeah, that's awesome. That's great.
Yep. Let me see here, because I think I missed a couple. Xavier sent 2 super chats. I want to get both of them here. Hold on. I'm scrolling up. I'm trying to find it. Okay, here's the first one. He said, before SS4, SS3 was the coolest looking form. I mean, I like it, but a lot of people don't. It's fine if you don't, you know, but some people love it, you know. And then he also says, That's Vegeta's technique. Wait, which one? The yo-yo or something else? What was he
Whenever Boo
referring-
was shooting all the blasts like that, you know, when he was just over blah 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 blah, shooting the blast out of two hands.
Okay,
That's
let
what
me
people
answer
call
this
the
question.
technique.
I'm going to answer this question because this is actually a good question. This is actually a very good question. He said, why did Vegeta ask Piccolo what would happen to him in the afterlife if Vegeta already died in the Frieza saga? Because Vegeta was not dead long enough in the Frieza saga for anything to happen to his body. When Vegeta sacrificed himself against Majin Buu, he knew in the back of his head he couldn't get wished back. He already died, and he knew he would probably stay dead this time. He was wrong, obviously, but he knew he would stay dead. So that's why he asked Piccolo, okay, what's going to happen to me?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Also,
yeah.
at that point, he is aware the afterlife is a thing. Like he knows it's a thing. Whenever he died for Frieza, he did not know it was a thing at all.
Right.
If you look at like what happens in the afterlife, normally you don't get to keep your body. You're basically like a cloud soul. You have to stand in line for God knows how long to get processed by King Yama. So there's like an actual process behind death.
And Vegeta did not know shit about being able to come back to Earth for one day. He didn't find that out until Goku did it. He wasn't around during Grandpa Gohan. So that's a very logical question that Vegeta asked Piccolo.
Yeah, true that.
So, yeah. So now this is the part right here because, man, people really try to fucking debunk me and they end up looking stupid. I made a video. And the video was called Why Super Saiyan 3 Goku Could Not Have Beaten Majin Buu. And I explained in that video why, even though Goku later on says, I could have beat the fat Buu, he couldn't have at all. And there's proof all over the manga to prove that. He says, I'm doing almost no damage whatsoever. Also, wasn't that Vegeta's, this guy, even if he just fights with somebody for a bit, he can copy techniques. That's what, okay, that must be what Xavier was talking about.
Yeah, Vegeta's technique, yeah.
Yeah. Goku could not have beaten Majin Buu because Majin Buu's regeneration and stamina would have outlasted Goku Super Saiyan 3. I'm telling you that. I will debate you. I mean, I'm not going to debate it because it's pretty fucking obvious. And there's people out there who think I'm wrong about it. Goku, I don't give a fuck what Goku said. He's wrong. Because he said that before he even knew that Super Saiyan 3 was a stamina killer. Remember, he's about to go Super Saiyan 3 against Kid Buu. He tells Vegeta, oh, I can probably take the fat Buu. And then after that, he goes Super Saiyan 3, loses it. He's like, what the fuck? He did not know that he put too much energy in, he'd lose it. If Goku fought Majin Buu, even hitting him with everything he's got, Buu would just regenerate. He couldn't kill him, dude.
Let me ask you a question. This is a very interesting question that you probably never been asked. What if Goku...
I'm not gay, but I'll learn. No, go ahead.
What if Goku took Buu to the afterlife? Do you think it would be possible for him to power up enough in the afterlife for him to take out Buu?
You mean like Super Saiyan 3 in the afterlife?
Yeah.
Maybe, but I still think the regeneration would have. The thing is, bro, like you have to remember.
The Spirit Bomb is it? You think the Spirit Bomb is the only way to like stop their regeneration, essentially?
No, I actually did a video very recently about other ways to kill Majin Buu. I just don't think Super Saiyan 3 Goku could have done it. I don't think he couldn't have. I don't think he could have annihilated him because of, bro. You guys have to remember, we saw Super Buu get turned into ash, and he was able to regenerate. Like
that's true.
Majin Buu's magic regeneration is so fucking OP that he survived. The only thing that Majin Buu could not have survived was fucking Vegito, because that's a whole level beyond anything. Maybe a serious Gotenks, maybe, or a serious Gohan, Super Buu. Not like Buhan. We're talking about Super Buu. And the Spirit Bomb, the Genki Dama. It's just The issue is that Boo's regeneration is really OP. Like, you just have to remember his generation, or his regeneration, excuse me, is insanely OP, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Insanely. Like,
I
it's
think
so
that maybe
strong.
I think that maybe Goku felt that if he could reach his peak like he had in the afterlife, he might have been stronger than Boo. But even then, I think that that's
He would
also,
have kept regenerating.
well, not just that, but like I don't think Boo understands exactly how strong he is. Like I don't think Goku understands exactly how strong Boo can get. Because if you remember, Boo fights Kid Boo for a little while. He also gets like way stronger later on in Super. So his power level is not consistent in itself. Like even if Goku felt like he could beat Boo here, that doesn't mean that it's like always guaranteed. So I just think it's like way more nuanced than people want to give it credit for. I don't think, like, even if in a hypothetical situation Goku is stronger than Boo in the afterlife, which is the reason I asked you that, it still doesn't mean that he couldn't regenerate and come back. Right.
That's what I'm saying. You have to remember all the things that Majin Buu survived. And when you look at, like we talked about earlier with looking at the manga as a whole, look at the Buu arc as a whole. Majin Buu survived a lot of shit, bro.
Yeah,
so to me, there was nothing Goku could do in Super Saiyan 3 to actually kill him. If they were having a martial arts battle, he could probably defeat him in a martial arts battle, but kill him to where he can't come back? Bro, the regeneration, this is not the same as Piccolo's regeneration, which is more of like a native natural thing, or Cell's regeneration, which is like a biotechnology, nanotechnology type of thing. This is a magic a regeneration. It's so much more beyond. They've never fought a guy like this. That's why Vegeta's like, are you immortal?
Do you think that there is some sort of special property to the Genki Dama that that makes perfect sense, because we see that again later on in Super whenever Trunks uses the Spirit Sword. There is some kind of weird property to this Genki Dama.
Yeah,
it's almost like anti-immortality in a weird way.
You know? Well, it goes to the real definition of Genki Dama Spirit Bomb, which is health energy ball, aka positive energy. True Evil Boo, aka Kid Boo, was made of pure evil. The Genki Dama, the spirit bomb that hit him, not only had the power of the entire like solar system, or it was more than that. It was because the Namekians also donated power. So it was so much power, plus it was positive energy. And you have to also remember, Kid Boo did push it back once. So even that, did y'all forget that Kid Boo pushed the spirit bomb back at Goku one time?
Yeah.
And that would imply that Boo, because he couldn't push it back a second time, that means that when Boo pushed it back, that drained a lot of his energy, so he couldn't do it again. And they didn't straight up say, Majin Buu's energy has been drained. But you could tell, because if you can push something back once, but not a second time, and then Goku went Super Saiyan and pushed it back at him, and then Buu was like, I can't handle it, and he died. You know? So that it's pure positive energy against pure evil. I think it makes sense. Now, if you're wondering, well, how did Frieza survive? Because how did the Spirit Bomb or Vegeta, because they were evil, not enough energy. The Goku Spirit Bomb against Buu is a combination of incredible amounts of positive energy and the energy being positive, and how it would damage a negative evil demon. So it's not just the fact that it's positive energy, it's the fact that it was so fucking big. So we'll talk more about that when we get there in a couple of streams. Xavier says, could Fat Boo or Kid Boo survive the Dragon Fist? I don't know. Probably not, to be honest, because that Dragon Fist is also pretty OP. What do you think?
I don't know. I think they probably could. I agree with you in the sense that I do think that the Spirit Bomb is pretty much the only thing that could have took Boo down. So,
well, not the only thing, because Vegito Remember,
Yeah, Vegito was way stronger. Yeah, but I mean, in terms of like this realm of power, yeah.
Vegito takes Boo's like antenna and throws it
Yeah.
and then destroys it on an atomic level. And he's like, I can do this to you at any point. Vegito could have, Vegito is so strong, he could have one-shotted Buhan. That's the difference in power. But we'll talk about that next time because this stream's going to go long. I can already tell because we have a lot left to talk about. So Buu punches Goku. And again, I knew this would happen in the Buu saga because there are so many things about the Buu saga. Like it or not, you don't have to like the Buu saga. There's a lot of things Toriyama introduced here that people like talking about. Fusion, Super Saiyan 3, Magic, Buu, like Majin. There's so much new shit, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, and you have all the context of the old series to consider here as well.
So Buu hits Goku with a left hook, and Goku smiles because he's in the fight now. This is meant to mirror this smile. Again, these guys are now enjoying the fight. Kaio's like, no, you're going to run out of power. Chapter 475, Majin Buu begins to see his true worth. That's an interesting, we're going to get to that. So, Justin says, Goku is Super Saiyan 3. Goku in Super Saiyan 3 looks freaking awesome. He kind of looks like He-Man. I don't know. I would not compare He-Man to Goku, brother. That's like ice cream and horse
I think they just mean because he's like all muscular and stuff, you know.
I mean, I like that movie. Have you ever seen Masters of the Universe, the 80s movie? That's a classic.
It is a classic, yeah.
So Goku with a right hook. Look at how Toriyama. I love how Toriyama draws Super Saiyan 3 Goku, y'all. Look at like his face, bro. Like with the eyes, like he looks like a fucking killer, bro. He looks like a fucking killer, dude. Like Are you seeing this? Am I the only one who sees this?
Yeah, he's like way exaggerated here.
Right hook, Buu with his right uppercut. Goku goes back, fires a Kamehameha, blasts a hole right through Majin Buu, a la, you know, what happened with Goma. And Buu just looks down, smiles. Well, first he closes the hole, smiles, and then look. After being hit with the technique once, Majin Buu can do the Kamehameha. Why? This is another example of Toriyama telling the audience and Goku that Buu's becoming a martial artist. He's not just a strong demon who can't be killed. He also is now able to learn techniques after seeing them performed once. So that makes him even more dangerous. Now, you're probably wondering, well, what's the big deal with that? When Kid Buu first blows up the earth, how does he get to the Kaio realm? He used the teleportation because he saw Goku do it once. And so Toriyama, dude, fuck anybody who says Toriyama's a bad writer. Like, everything connects. Like, yeah, okay, listen, the Buu Saga's got issues. I'm not denying that. We're going to get to those next volume because that's when the issues begin, in my opinion. But Toriyama is still an incredible writer. He's still trying to tie it all together.
Yeah.
You know? So anyways, he's like shocked. Buu fires the Kamehameha. Goku is like, oh shit, and does the volleyball, the double volleyball hit and fires it off, and it goes to the horizon back there. Do you think people were killed in that blast radius?
I mean, I don't know. It's not really implied that they were, but they could have been.
Like, there had to have been people back there, right? You think?
You would think, yeah.
At least animals, right? So, and again, here we have Goku like wincing and Buu smiling. Like, again, this is all building to something, bro. Toriyama's such a good writer, bro. Fuck. Back then he was. And I'll say this. Modern Toriyama, he's not the same guy, bro. Young Toriyama was sharp. So Goku's in shock at this big ass explosion. Look at this explosion. Bro, people had to have died. That explosion is that shit looks like fucking Nagasaki, bro. You know what I'm saying?
That is crazy, yeah.
And then this shot right here, bro. This is one of my favorite panels because that picture of Buu was used in the Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden 3 box art. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a classic shot. He's
Let
like,
me
look
show
what you
the
did.
let me show the
I guess that
audience.
is kind of an implication that he's killed people. Just the smile in itself, right?
Well, I'm saying the smile because he's like a sinister fucking dickwad or whatever. Like he's
Yeah.
and because he was able to do the move. So check this out, y'all. This is the box art for Dragon Ball Z Super Butoden 3, which, by the way, Super Saiyan 3 was not in this game. At least I don't think it was. Maybe it wasn't. I forgot. So I love this piece of art. First, you got Goten and Trunks looking absolutely badass. You've got the Dragon Ball Z logo, which looks incredible there. Super Butoden 3. And then you've got Boo back there with the fucking sinister face, bro. You can't tell me this shit ain't badass, bro. You can't tell me that this picture is not. Look at, because
They
Boo's
definitely did their
smile.
best to make Boo seem scary in that for sure.
But look at I'm putting them both next to each other. Dude, they literally fucking like they redrew it. It's not the same one, but they traced it.
I wouldn't call it tracing, but they definitely redrew it for sure.
He says that was the box art of one of the tapes I used to have. That was a bootleg that you had, but that is incredible box art. Bro, look at this, bro. Look at anyways, let's keep going. So be more careful. You stupid bull. You almost got me killed as well. And and of course, Babidi's being a dick.
Very
So then
silly.
he said that attack now just have erased 1/10 of the planet's population. So yes, Jordan, people did die. Don't you think you're a pretty terrible hero? It seems. Goku's like, you're really good. It's funny how you look like such a dimwit, but you're a genius after all. That right there, let me highlight that. You look like a dimwit, but you're a genius after all. How many times has Akira Toriyama drawn a character to look stupid who's actually really strong? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
Majin Kuu's such a stupid form. Oh my god, he looks so dumb. And then 2 weeks later, Majin Kuu's so funny, guys. What a great character. This fandom will never grow the fuck up, bro. See, that's the problem. That's why I get so irritated, because I actually grew up and everybody else is still a kid. The second you see the technique on your enemy, you make it your own. So he knows he's a genius, and then Boo does the Pinocchio thing, right? So 227060, can Majin Kudu beat any versions of Boo? What do you think? I have an idea, but what do you think?
I think they're just like, I don't look. Here's the thing:
They're counterfeit.
When Toriyama asked, when they asked Toriyama how strong Boo was, Boo said that, or Toriyama said that even Boo didn't know how strong he was, and that his power is just like up in the air. Like basically, he doesn't. I think that's also the case with Ku and Do to an extent. I definitely think that Do is stronger than Ku, but I also think that they basically have the same potential as Boo in that sense because of how they were created. You know, that's my opinion. But.
I sort of agree with you. I highly doubt. I don't think Ku would ever have a chance because he's not a fighter. I highly doubt that any of those Boos could beat Majin Buu because these were. You have to get the context out. First of all, when I first leaked, dangerous word, when I first leaked Ku and Do, I told you they were counterfeit versions of Boo. And that's what they are. They're wannabe Majin Boos. Also, what did Marba say about Boo? She said that Majin Buu was a 1 in a million. It was a fluke that he was that strong. So that implies that Ku and Do would never, ever be as strong as Boo. However, when Majin Buu tried to mimic Super Saiyan 3 and his power actually went up, that tells me, like what Jordan said, that if Majin Buu were properly trained, at some point he could get as strong as Boo. I really do believe that if he trained. He
Yeah.
could be. So, anyways, let's keep going. So Goku realizes that Trunks has a dragon radar. He doesn't have to fight anymore. He powers down. And then right here, Boo says, it's fun fighting with you. I want to fight more. That's it. He's a martial artist. Done. He's a martial artist. That's it.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get to why this is important in just a moment. So bear with us. So here, Boo is like, kill him already. He's like, no, I gotta go. And then Goku says, listen, well, Babidi, the 3 you are looking for will come to you in 2 days from now. Just wait until then and do nothing. Don't kill anybody for just 2 days. This is the same thing he told Cell, bro. You think they're gonna listen to him? No. Are they? And then look what Boo says. Are they strong? He's starting to sound like a Saiyan.
Yep, starting to sound like a martial artist.
He's starting to sound like Goku.
Yeah.
Jordan, I'm about to verbally suck your dick. How many? Because this is something that resonates with you.
Yeah.
How many times, and on how many videos have you discussed the Goku effect and the Goku's effect on other people? Can you please illustrate that for the people in the chat so that they fucking understand the series a little bit more? What is the Goku effect?
So essentially, Goku, you can kind of think of Goku as like the first villain that ever, even though Goku's not a villain, you can kind of think of him as the first villain to experience the Goku effect whenever he lost his memories and was no longer Kakarot and became Goku. So the Goku effect is essentially the effect that Grandpa Gohan had on Goku, where he took Goku's violent nature and, you know, what normally makes someone's violent nature dangerous is they normally want to use it to commit malicious acts. They want to actually hurt people. Okay. That's normally that's what makes the Saiyans themselves evil and dangerous, is the fact that they do crave battle, but they also are malicious and they want to hurt people. So what Grandpa Gohan did is he took that part of Goku's nature and he basically pointed it in the direction of martial arts. And he said, look, it's okay that you have a violent nature, but you can use your violent intentions without being malicious. You can use martial arts as an avenue to express yourself, be as violent as you want without being malicious or hurting anybody. And that purified Goku. The reason that Goku has a pure heart is because his violent intentions were purified by being taught to use his principles as a martial artist to essentially stop him from giving into his ego or his malicious intentions. That's why he has no malicious intent. That's the reason that Baba could not find any evil in his heart at all, because he doesn't have any malicious intentions. He just wants to practice martial arts all the time. So what's happening here is Goku is purifying Buu by taking his malicious, violent intentions and making them a part of his pride as a martial artist and his craving to grow stronger and to enjoy fights and to fight strong people. So he's basically taking what makes Buu dangerous, and he's essentially making it to where instead of Buu using that to destroy people and to hurt people, he's going to use it to have fun and fights and just enjoy himself. And that's the Goku effect, essentially.
Yes, and Goku just meeting people starts to change them slowly.
Yeah.
It happened to Vegeta. It took a few arcs, Piccolo, etc. Brian says, for some of us in real life, fighting can be a turn on. Yeah, I mean, if you're a professional fighter, yes, being violent, but being violent is not fighting. Beating people up and bullying them is actually cowardly. Fighting is you fucking train, you get into a tournament, whether it be taekwondo, karate, or mixed martial arts, and then you compete against somebody else, and then you see who the better man is. That's what Dragon Ball is. Alvarez says, Ultimate Gohan Z version versus SS4 Goku Daima or GT. Super Saiyan 4 completely blows Ultimate Gohan out of the water, bro.
Yeah, in both cases.
Yeah, in both cases. Super Saiyan 4 is insanely more powerful. And if you power scale the statements Goku made in GT when he was fighting in his base form, there's an implication that Goku, even in base, might have gotten equal to or stronger than Z Ultimate Gohan.
Yeah.
Goku gets insanely strong in these Dragon Ball Z sequels. So Babidi's being a dick, and Goku's like, oh, I thought that this would be a battle that Buu could really enjoy. In hell, I'll make sure that you get rot really hard. He's saying that to Babidi. He disappears, but Boo's like, what the hell did he just do? Now, you might be wondering, why didn't Buu learn the teleportation there? He just didn't. He learned it the second time. Some of these techniques take a couple times to learn, but he's still
I
learning.
love how shocked Boo is that he disappeared. I love it. Like he's like looking around, he's like, what the hell just happened? Because like you don't get to see Boo get shocked very often. Most things don't surprise him. And even if he sees somebody super strong, he's like, he's like, oh, it's whatever. I don't care. But this is the first time you genuinely see Boo be like, what the heck is going on? I love that. It's awesome.
Yeah, but Pain, you live in the real world, not in the world of Dragon Ball. I don't like fighting. I don't like getting into fights with people. I'm competitive in other things, but this is Dragon Ball, bro. If there weren't fights, people wouldn't watch. So this next scene is really important. So Babidi is insulting Majin Buu, just going in on him, right? And then I love how Toriyama draws Buu here, getting really annoyed. He calls him fat, all these fucking names. And then he's like, Master Babidi, I have a really good idea. What idea? Are you an idiot? So Babidi comes close to him. Buu grabs him by the throat. Why by the throat? So he can't speak. So he can't say ba ba da ba or whatever to put Buu back in containment. And here he's like, you can't talk now, huh? Babidi can't say spell to seal Buu away. I've learned a lot from you. There's no use for you anymore. Look at this, bro. He fucking punched him in the head and literally fucking smashed it. Even in the anime, there was all that blood. Look at that.
Brutal. Yeah, it's brutal. Yeah.
He didn't just decapitate him. He fucking exploded his head.
Yeah, which is ironic because of what he did to Spopovich. So
yes, you're great catch. Great catch. I like how Toriyama reuses these two panels here. And then oh god, and then look at the squirting of the blood.
Oh god.
This was gross, bro. And then he blows up the body. So Majin Buu is now free. I'm gonna hit y'all with a little fuck. Again, this is another verbal blowjob to Jordan. If Buu had never met Goku and gotten into this fight with Goku, there's a very good chance that Buu would have never done what he just did. Goku fighting Buu and triggering Majin Buu's competitive martial arts character is why he said, fuck this guy. I'm going to be free. I'm tired of him insulting me. I just fought Goku. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, he awakened Boo's true nature. Like, he wants to actually enjoy fighting. Like, basically, like when Boo was running around killing people, he did it because it was fun. And they actually kind of exaggerate that here in a little bit, because when he's free of Babidi's influence, he's not doing it because Babidi wants him to do it. He's doing it because it's fun. So, that's the reason that this effect worked on Boo so well in comparison to like the other villains, is because this is all about fun to him. So
not just that, but I agree with everything you said. It's a slow turn, and also Boo now being free in some ways might make him more dangerous.
Yeah.
So Trenton says, would Mafuba work on Boo? Somebody asked this earlier as well. I think the Mafuba would work. The problem is getting Majin Buu in the Mafuba because he's really, really fast. So if you're going to use the Mafuba, you have to at least be fast enough to catch him with it. And that's going to be the ultimate decider. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
It's about speed. So now Buu is free. Goku, and then Goku realizes, oh, he killed Babidi. Okay. And then they're like, I can't feel Babidi's ki. And then Goku's like, I thought he might do that someday, but now he really did it.
I love his
Yeah.
grin.
Yeah, and then this is where Piccolo says he might become more docile. So I'm not so sure, but it would be nice. And then Boo proceeds to destroy the city with his breath. So Trunks getting the Dragon Radar was the right thing to do at that point. Would the Devil Might Beam work? What do you think?
No, I think that despite the fact that there is evil in Boo's heart at this point, he is still pure like a child because of the Grand Supreme Kai. I think that basically like there's maliciousness there, but he ultimately gets rid of that maliciousness, and at that point, I don't think the Devil Might Beam would work because that's what makes it work is the fact that you have malicious intentions. So once Boo no longer has malicious intentions, I don't think it would work.
But it would probably work on the other Boos, like Kid Boo,
Yeah,
because he's
yeah,
evil. Yeah, Kid Boo
yeah.
might work. So Justin Sullivan says, Babidi bitching Boo here is like an overly bitchy ex-girlfriend nagging at you for not coming to lunch with her and her friends. Fitting considering I compared him to Rachel Zegler a few streams ago. The movie was made in 1927 and evidently so. She falls in love with a guy who stalks her. Weird. I fucking hate
Yeah.
that bitch, bro. I don't think I've ever met an actress who's that unlikable than her, bro. Weird. No, she's not gonna be looking for love. No, she's gonna be the fighter that we all thought she could be. Fuck her, bro. Anyways, let's keep going. So Boo goes down to a city now, and he's just having fun. Now he's blowing things up because he thinks it's fun. This is a classic scene that was also in the anime. He sees a girl. So Majin Buu says, "Do you think I'm attractive?" And then, she's like, "Totally attractive. Absolutely." And then he's like, "Give me a kiss." And then she screams and he's like, "You lied." And then he looks at this handsome guy in the magazine. First of all, this right here, "You lied." That was the story of my life when I was in high school, bro. Fucking. And then he says, "Oh, that's what human women like." So he changes his face to look like that actor, and then she freaks out. This reminds me of Clayface from Batman the animated series. I
Yeah.
saw that before I saw Dragon Ball Z, so I thought it was like a reference to that.
Yeah.
This is a great scene though.
It
Him
is.
trying to
Yeah.
kiss her, yeah, and then he turns her into a caramel. And you know what kind of caramel this is? This is the classic little square caramels.
Yes.
Jordan, I used to eat these as a kid, bro. They were so fucking good. I used to lick them and it makes my legs shake.
Oh god.
He ate her out. I guess in a way he did. Do you like caramels?
I used to like them. Yeah, I can't really eat them anymore because of my teeth, but I do like them.
Yeah. Yeah, they do stick to your teeth a lot. I haven't had them in years, but they're fucking good. So, anyways, he's saying it's gonna be boring till those strong guys come. So he's just gonna blow shit up. More Hiroshima here. I'll annihilate the Earthlings. That should be fun enough. So again, he didn't listen to Goku. Of course, Piccolo and them are like, we need to get Gotenks. Well, it wasn't called Gotenks yet. We got to get Goten and Trunks ready, and they got to hurry the fuck up now
Yeah,
because
they ain't got
Goku's
much
going to.
time.
Right now, here is where Baba shows up and said, "You have 30 minutes left. You should start getting ready to go back." And this is where they revealed that Goku, using Super Saiyan 3, drained his energy to be on Earth for 24 hours. And, right here, when you use the Super Saiyan 3 earlier, couldn't you have beaten Majin Buu if you had used all of your strength? Am I wrong? Well, I'm not sure. Majin Buu's strength is just over the chart. I think it's very likely that I would have lost against him. But not because of the strength, because of the regeneration. Justin says, you know what Boo trying to force himself on that woman feels to me? Harvey Weinstein, because of the little casting couch. Well, except Majin Buu's much more powerful than Harvey Weinstein, bro. If Harvey Weinstein had Boo powers, the world would be fucked.
That's true.
Yeah. So Goku needs Piccolo to finish the training. And look, I like how Goku here says it's a terrible risk that we're taking, but I think those two little super prodigies are good enough to let them try. So even he knows that relying on Goten and Trunks, who are 7 and 8 years old, it might be a bad idea.
Yeah.
But that's all they can do. Remember, they think Gohan's dead. You have to remember, Vegeta's dead, and they think that Gohan
This cracks
is dead.
me up because I remember people jumping all over me for saying that this isn't necessarily the best decision ever for him to put all this faith in Goten and Trunks, and even Goku agrees with me. So,
well, yeah, and even he knows that.
Yeah.
And to me, this goes back to the conversation Goku had with Piccolo about Gohan being like the fighter. And Piccolo was like, he's not like you, Goku. This is, I think, Goku referencing that, saying, these kids are even younger than what Gohan was when he fought Cell.
Yeah.
And this is a terrible risk because A, they might not be able to master the fusion pose, and B, they might not be strong enough. But Goku's really confident, or at least somewhat confident, in the power of Metamor and fusion.
Yeah.
So, and then when you go back to the other world, give him my regards, about Gohan. Because again, they think Gohan's dead.
The future generation
training.
scene, the future generation scene that Megan Hassan brings up in the chat, that is the argument that people always use to justify this decision, and to make it seem as though Goku is like going through some sort of growth by relying on Goten and Trunks. But that's the criticism I have for this whole thing. I don't see it as a good idea at all. I mean, I can see why they're desperate to make that decision, but I don't see this as like a growth moment for Goku at all. I see it as like, it's literally like, I'm never going to be able to come back to life. This is our best option. Like, that's the way I see it. Like, and even then, I don't think it's the best option. I mean, it might be the best option they have at that point, but it's still very dangerous and risky. So,
yeah, I mean, that's it. Like, the future generation thing, I think, was something that Toriyama was thinking about. Like, maybe in this arc, we're going to have Gohan, Goten, and Trunks be the heroes. But clearly he changed his mind, and we're going to get to all that when we get to next volume. Because that all happens in the next volume. The next volume has a lot in it, bro. The next volume is Vegito, Gotenks, fucking... There's a lot in this next volume. Ultimate. Again, these streams are extra long. That's why we're starting them at 3, because we might start next week at 2. I'll talk to you about that, because this is wild. So Gohan is still training, and Gohan talks about how Goku trained in the afterlife, and that he needs to get stronger. So he's taking, he's trying to be the old Gohan again. And Gohan's like, Boo is still alive. So Trunks finally made it back with the Dragon Radar. And now the training must conclude. Now, this is where they're going to train them on the fusion pose. So there's a lot of that here. Now, this is where Goku first introduces the fusion pose. And what I like about the fusion pose is that it's so fucking stupid looking and ridiculous Toriyama knows it's stupid looking and ridiculous and acknowledges it. And again, that's why I can't stand these fucking dub Dragon Ball Z fans who don't know shit about Toriyama. He does stupid shit and knows that it's stupid, but he makes a joke out of it. He's never been a serious writer. Never. He has done some serious stories, but he always goes back to being a gag fucking
he wants you to laugh. I think that's part of what makes Dragon Ball great, is that the tension is broken and then brought back and then broken and then brought back and then broken and then brought back. You know, like he makes you, it's like a roller coaster in that sense. Like you know, like things will seem really dire and you know, like everybody's doomed one minute and then the next minute somebody's cracking a joke. It's just, you know, it's actually kind of realistic in that way, to be honest.
Yes, I agree with you. And it also makes sense when Vegeta and characters like that, whenever they see Goku do the fusion pose, they're like, there's no way I'm doing something that stupid. There's no way I'm going to humiliate myself. We saw that in the fusion movie, the Janemba. We saw that in Super Broly. Like, Vegeta thinks the form looks stupid. One of the things that I hate about the fucking dub, bro, and I hate this, is if you've seen Fusion Reborn dubbed, bro, congratulations, you've seen a shitty fucking version. Do you remember that at the end of the movie, Vegeta and Goku are talking, and in the dub, Vegeta's like, we should do it again sometime. And Goku's like, anytime you want. In the Japanese version, Vegeta says, by the way, Kakarot, I'm never fusing with you again. And Goku's like, I understand. They completely fucking changed it and said the reverse. Completely fucking said the opposite of what Vegeta said, bro. And you wonder why I fucking,
They do that a lot.
I fucking hate the dub, bro, because it's not just that they change shit. It's the literal opposite. Vegeta does not like fusing.
Yep.
But sometimes they have to do it.
Neither of them really like it. It's just that they'll use it if they have to help their friends. You know, we see that later on in the Buu Saga. So we'll talk about it.
Goku's more comfortable with it than Vegeta. Vegeta's like, fuck that. So he's teaching him the pose. And look, is it just me or was that really lame? Yeah. Yep. You have to be symmetrical to each other. Give it a try. Goku hammers that point home because later on we find out that if you fuck up the fusion, we got a problem. So, and here, even Piccolo is like, you expect me to do this? So even he's embarrassed as he does the pose right there. And you can even see Piccolo's face, how fucking embarrassed he is at doing this stupid looking pose. And then Piccolo's like, look at him, bro.
Yeah, he's like,
he's like, fuck.
Thank God I don't have to do that again.
Even though he has to teach them.
Yeah.
So Piccolo says, you said you wanted to try this with Vegeta, but I seriously doubt that he would have agreed to do this if he was still alive now. It's in character for Vegeta to say, fuck that. And then Goku has to say, bro, Bulma might die, Trunks might die. We need to do something here. So Buu is having a good fucking time. Oh, yeah. I did want to address one thing real quick, Jordan, because we got the question in the chat real quick. Let me see if I can pull it up, because I do want to talk to you about this. Hold on. Where is... Give me 1 second. Hold on, Toriyama. Okay. Jared Punch to Jordan and Geekdom. What's your opinions on Goku showing Goten and Trunks Super Saiyan 3 in the anime? So Goku in the anime, Trunks and Goten want to see Super Saiyan 3 up close because Trunks was busy, couldn't see it. So Goku shows it to them. I really like that scene because, in my opinion, that scene actually makes Gotenks using Super Saiyan 3 make more sense, because when Trunks and Goten see Goku doing it, in the back of their minds, they remembered it. And even though they were not strong enough to do it individually, remember what they say about fusion. When you fuse, you create a new body. So Gotenks, Gogeta, Vegito, it's a new body with new powers, even though it's two guys coming together into one. Pause. So it makes sense that Goten and Trunks see the form, and then that makes it so that when they do Super Saiyan 3, it to me it's a good idea. What do you think?
I think the only issue anybody could have with it is the amount of time that Goku had left. But even then, it's so obscure that it's like whatever, you know.
Brother, I'm not arguing this with you. I don't give a fuck if you type all caps. Rewind the stream and listen to what I said about Goku versus Fat Boo. I'm not going to repeat myself. I'm not going to fucking say it again. Rewind the stream. You are wrong. Super Saiyan 3 Goku cannot defeat Fat Boo, and I illustrated exactly why he couldn't do it. So please rewind the stream and learn about it, bro, because I already went through it and I'm not going to debate it. The answer is on this stream. Or you can watch the video I did years ago called Why Super Saiyan 3 Goku Could Not Have Beaten Fat Boo. Because he couldn't have. I don't care what he says. He's wrong. And the manga shows that he's wrong. This idea that Goku's always right about everything, he's not. He even admits he was wrong in that chapter. Okay, so Boo is now traveling around again. He's again, he doesn't like how loud they are. And then he turned everybody into clay. And this is where Majin Buu uses the clay. He turns everyone into clay. And then, sorry about that. And then he creates his own house. What do you think about this?
The thing that I've always found interesting about it is how similar it looks similar it looks to the mud houses that the Namekians build. Not necessarily like how it looks, because it looks weird, but like the fact that he took all that mud and used it to build a house is very Namekian like. So I always thought that was interesting.
Do you think, and this is kind of a stretch, do you think that Boo maybe has a memory of the demon realm and saw this architecture, and that's why he built his house like
probably
that?
I wouldn't even necessarily consider that a stretch. I'd say that's probably accurate.
Yeah, because we know that Boo was in the demon realm, even though it was Kid Boo. Yeah. So the house looks kind of cool, bro. It looks like a slug. And then Majin Buu fucking takes a bath, and then fucking he takes a shit. I love this, bro. Again, Toriyama, bro. He has to go back to the gags. Majin, this is a villain taking a bath. The last time we saw this was Tao Pai Pai. We didn't see fucking link for the video. Bro, I'm not going to stop the stream to find you a link, dude. Go to the channel, search up Super Saiyan 3 Goku Majin Buu. I'm not going to just pause the stream to go get you a link, dude. It's on the channel. Trust me. So we see Buu having the bubble bath, and then he takes a shit, and then he brushes his teeth because he's a good boy, and then he goes and takes a nap. I love it, bro. What do you think?
Yeah, it really illustrates how childlike Boo is on his own without the influence of Babidi. So yeah, I really like it.
Now, here's the question. Boo sleeps for 5 seconds and he's well rested. Why is it that Majin Buu and Z can sleep for 5 seconds and be well rested, but in Super he oversleeps twice? And
it's a reference to the interview that Toriyama gave about Boo. Him falling asleep in Super is a reference to an interview that he gave about Boo, where Boo would go into hibernation and then he would go and destroy shitloads of planets throughout the universe, and then he would go into a hibernation again over and over and over again. Whenever Toriyama was talking about Boo's origin, he talked about how Majin Buu absorbed the evil of mankind through running around destroying planets and observing planets. And, he would do that for like a really long time, and then he would go into a hibernation. I think this is just like a miniature version of that. It's like a super quick version because he's not doing it on a universal scale. He's just doing it on a planet with cities, right? So he can afford to just take a 5-second nap because he's not running around destroying planets like he did as Kid Buu. He's just running around destroying cities on Earth. So that's what I think.
And don't forget that the Majin Buu in Super is not this one, because the Super Majin Buu does not have the other Boos inside of him like this one does. That whole, because the fat Buu that fought Kid Buu is weaker than this fat Buu because he doesn't have all the Boos inside of him, like all the real power. You know what I'm saying? Yes, Graham, you are correct. This is a slice of life moment. But what I like about it is Toriyama's using slice of life for a villain. And that's pretty rare, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, hold on a minute. Hercule had no idea what he was standing in. Come on, bro. Hercule on Geekdom 101. Mr. Satan. Mr. Satan. Come on. You're not 10 years old, brother. Mr. Satan. All right, let's do it. So the training here continues. Goku's got 30 minutes. He leaves it up to Piccolo. This is where Goku leaves. And Goku's like, make sure they master this technique. And Videl is the only one that thinks Gohan is still alive. What do you think about that?
I think it's awesome because it shows that she has like a deeper connection to Gohan than everybody else. So
Her
I think
pussy's fucking quivering, bro. If Bashar was in the chat right now, he would agree. Anyways, so now Goku has to dip, right? And this part is kind of cute. Goku wants to give Goten a hug, yeah, and
it's like the Grandpa Gohan. It's like the Grandpa Gohan scene, but like a new version of it almost.
Exactly. Except this time it's Goku going to the other. Look at this guy, bro. It was Mr. Satan. Exactly, brother. I forgive you. No, but yes, this is exactly the Grandpa Gohan scene, but it's Goku, the one that, is going to the. I love that because Goku crying for Grandpa Gohan is just like Goten crying for Goku because Goten never knew Goku.
Yep.
And just for the record, Jordan, in real life, if a parent misses the first 8 years of a kid's life, it can create psychological issues down the road. So
yeah,
I don't.
Goku is very lucky that Goten is so much like him, despite the fact that he didn't. Basically, he's lucky that his genes are so powerful because otherwise Goten would be a mess. For sure.
Do you remember that video I did where I debunked that fucking article that said that Goten is a reincarnation of Bardock? That's one of the stupidest things I've ever, talk about making shit up, bro. It was on one of those horrible websites, like fucking, those terrible.
Yeah,
websites.
this right here is this scene where he's like floating away, waving to everybody, telling him that he'll see him when he's dead, is literally verbatim like a reference to whenever Grandpa Gohan's waving to everybody as he's leaving to go back to Otherworld. It's so cool. I love it.
Well, and also it's like Goku with the angel wings that we see Toriyama draw that wound up in the show ending. So they're all saying, and then I love it where he says, "Let's meet again when you die," and then Krillin's like, "That rascal, he had to say something that hopeless, didn't he?"
Yep.
Chapter 478, Son Gohan's whereabouts. So right now the picture is Buu is rampaging. The heroes now are Gohan, Goten, and Trunks. Goku makes it back to the other world. He's chilling, and he basically asks about, why are there so many people? And it's like, because Buu is killing a bunch of people. Yeah. And then he asked about Gohan. He's like, did a guy named Son Gohan come through? Because remember, Gohan had never died before. So King Yemma might not know who Gohan is. And he's like, he hasn't been here, and I think I recognize your son. I would recognize your son. And then Goku's like, so he's not dead? And this is where Goku realizes that Gohan is alive.
Just like Benel said. Yeah.
Yep, but where is he? Goku's like, I can't sense his ki. I actually really like that, even though Toriyama is moving forward with Gohan, Goten, and Trunks as the main characters for this arc. Well, I like how he still figures out a way to give Goku something to do. This is before, of course, Goku would come back, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like,
yeah,
Goku is he's still got shit to do.
He's got a role in the story. Yeah.
A role. That's it. Yeah. So he senses Gohan's ki. He really concentrates, and then he teleports there. And I love it because he fucking, and I think in the anime, didn't he accidentally cut off Goku's hair for a second, or was that?
I think so, something like that. I think he like teleports into his swing or something like that.
Yeah, I might be wrong because it might be a mix with something else. But anyways, so Goku's like, why are you dressed like that? Which, you know, is kind of funny. And then Kibito's like, wait a minute, what the fuck? Another mortal is in our realm. When he says another human, guys, he's talking about mortals because in Japanese, the word ningen means both human and mortal.
Yeah, there's a difference between a Shinjin and a ningen.
I think he's trying to piss me off, this guy.
Probably.
Yeah. Either that or he's making a joke about another video where I debunked something. So Goku fills Gohan in on what's going on. And then Goku takes the sword and starts to swing it. And he's like, oh, is this supposed to give you power? And Goku's just swinging it around like nothing, bro. And then he's like, do you have anything to eat? Goku, even without having a body, he's hungry.
Yep.
Back on Earth, they're given a chance to nap, but you gotta learn this fucking fusion pose. Buu is wreaking havoc. You know, there's not much for us to break down there. This scene is absolutely adorable. In the anime, it was also adorable. So Buu meets this blind kid and he can't see. And then he's like, you can't see? So Majin Buu pulls a fucking Jesus Christ from the New Testament and heals the kid's blindness. He's like, open your eyes, and then he can see. Why is Toriyama giving Majin Buu a scene where he does something not only benevolent and sweet, but objectively good?
Yep.
This is a good thing that Buu is doing here.
Yeah, he's basically starting to crave validation, which can be a good thing in some context. But he wants
to, not if you're on Twitter.
Well, the thing is like there's two different types of validation. There's like people who want to be feared and looked at as like position, like in a position of authority, so that way people don't challenge their authority. And then there's also like a position of respect. You know what I mean? And I think that Buu is starting to he's basically craving that feeling for respect rather than that feeling of fear. And that's what's happening.
Do you think that part of this is what I think, is because of the Grand Kai's influence on this version?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
The Grand Kai is benevolent. So I actually really love this scene. This is a very beautiful scene because like I've got vision issues, right? I have bad eyesight. And even before I had eyesight this bad in the anime, like the kid is so happy that he can see. And Majin Buu is like, you're not scared of me? Buu has never run into somebody who's not afraid of him. And of course, the kid is not going to be afraid because he helped him. So here we have Majin Buu who's basically a big kid, sitting down next to the real kid, having this conversation, and then he's like, do you think I'm cool? And he's like, I don't really know, but I guess you are. After all, you cured me. And so Boo has a compliment being given his way. This is, again, a lot of that. What's the word? A lot of that, like, Boo slowly turning good.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
love
But
yeah.
do you think, let me ask you a question. Do you think that by this point, Toriyama had already planned in his head that he was going to do an evil Majin Buu? Like, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't going to.
I don't know if he planned on having like there be a separate entity that represents his evil, but it would make sense if he did because he already did that with Piccolo. So it would make sense if he kind of had it in the back of his mind because it's something that he had already done. So
As far as redemption goes, maybe, but this is the beginning of that. So I think, yeah, that's the thing. I think Toriyama in his head was like, we're probably going to do the Piccolo thing again where the evil leaves his body.
yeah,
But we still have, the thing that's wild is obviously Toriyama made it up as he went along. But
yeah,
to say he never planned anything is bullshit, because the scenes where Boo makes friends with Mr. Satan and the scenes where Boo is like turning good and all that, and then we see like the evil Boo come out of him, that's several chapters down the road. So
yeah,
Toriyama at this point already had in his head, I'm going to turn him good, and then something else is going to happen. Like he already knew. Like,
yeah.
because you got to understand, those chapters were like 2 months away.
Well, Goku is the archetype, right? It basically kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier with the Goku effect. Like, basically, Toriyama already knows what effect Boo needs to experience and kind of the implications of that, but he doesn't know exactly how he's going to play on that, right? So he kind of already has a blueprint, but he doesn't necessarily know how he's going to implement. Like he has like he has a plan in the sense that he has a blueprint that he's already always used within the series anyway,
Yeah, he's got an idea, but he doesn't know exactly how he'll flesh it out till he gets there.
Yeah.
Hunter, it's not almost Mr. Satan taming him. He does. We're going to get there. I love this scene where he tries to give Boo some money and Boo tries to eat it and he's like, nasty. And then he's like, I'll get you some milk. And he finds this random guy and turns him into milk and then gives it to the boy. So he's like, money tastes tastes bad, try milk. I feel bad for that little boy because he doesn't realize that he drank a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
fuck.
That's true, yeah.
And then Boo blows up another city, bro. So we go from Majin Buu doing something sweet and adorable, curing the kid's blindness and giving him milk, to blowing up a city. This is Toriyama 101. This is how he is. People need to accept that. Dragon Ball is not meant to be taken super seriously, dude. It's not. It's supposed to be a gag manga with some seriousness in there.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
I
let's
love
keep
that
going.
figure, by the way. I'm jealous of that. I love that.
I got it on AliExpress before the tariffs.
Awesome.
Yeah. The Toriyama with the Saiyaman cape and Robo Toriyama's face. I love it. It's here as inspiration right here on my desk. All right. Gohan training like a badass. They don't even know how to use the Z sword. They just assume that Gohan training with it will help.
And it
right?
does. It does, but not to the degree that they're hoping for sure.
Not to what we're about to find out. So Goku's like, that sword must be sharp. Throws a boulder at it. Z sword, another Kaioshin. He throws a boulder at it. And then he's like, let's try it out with something harder than that. Pause. So this is the introduction of what's called kachin, which is an alloy. It's basically Dragon Ball's version of like adamantium or vibranium, but it's a metal that's only found in the godly realm, but it originally originated from the demon realm.
Yep.
For Super, when the Grand Priest built the Tournament of Power arena, he built it with kachin kachin, which is double hard compared to this. So Goku throws the fucking giant block of kachin metal at Gohan. Gohan tries to break it with the sword, right? And the sword breaks. And they're like, everyone's like, what the fuck? That's impossible. It's the Z sword. You know, the most powerful sword ever. And then Goku says, it's because you wanted to test it on something so hard. Out of context,
Yeah,
that's
he's
great.
just pointing out the most blatantly obvious thing ever. What are you doing, bro?
Yeah, right. So I love it. So hold on, I pushed the wrong button there. Sorry about that. So now he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know. But he has gotten stronger. You know, he has actually gotten stronger. He's like, okay, you might be the strongest in the universe, but Goku straight up says, he's like, I don't think you're stronger than Majin Buu. And Goku would know because unlike Gohan, Goku did fight Majin Buu. I agree. Jordan, you want to take this question, bro?
Not really, but I mean, yeah, I mean that's obvious. The manga is
That's
always paced faster than the anime.
that's obvious, bro. That's obvious. No, it's not just you. That's how it always is. So now we have a new Kaioshin appear. Who's that old man? And then he realizes you're a Kaioshin. And he's like, I'm an old Kaioshin from generations back. There was an incredibly strong evil fellow, although not as strong as Boo. He sealed me in that sword. He did that because he was terrified of me. Now, it was retconned later on
to be
that
Beerus.
Beerus did it. I do not like that retcon because according to that retcon, old Kai thinks that Boo is not as strong as Beerus. Or I'm sorry, Boo is stronger than Beerus.
But he's clearly like way stronger than Boo.
Yeah, no, this is Bryant. This is not foreshadowing Beerus. This was in 1995. Beerus didn't appear till 2013. Toriyama didn't plan Beerus. Toriyama didn't say in 1995.
I actually like the retcon. It does create inconsistencies, but I do think it's like kind of in character for Beerus to be like, oh, this old Kai's a dumbass. He's going to end up getting himself killed or worse, or, you know, like basically it's almost like Beerus preventing himself from getting killed through sealing the old Kai in the sword. That's the way I look at it anyway.
I hate the retcon.
It doesn't bother me. There's much worse retcons out there than this.
But what I was trying to tell Brian is that this is not a foreshadowing. Toriyama didn't sit there in 1995 and go, you know, in about 17 years, I'm going to make a movie and reveal who that is. That's not what happens, bro. That's not how foreshadowing works. It's a very bad retcon. Jordan's okay with it. I'm telling you right now, I don't like it. And I had a whole video. I actually have a whole video ready to go where I talk about the most annoying retcons of modern Dragon Ball. And this one didn't make the list. But one of the things that I do not like is this retcon, because there are a lot of retcons in modern Dragon Ball where they retcon old shit that I fucking can't stand. Including like Bardock and Dragon Ball Minus, like there's so many. and I don't like it. I'm just being honest. Like,
Well, I think that's one thing that me and you differ on. I actually think a lot of the retcons in Super are an improvement, even though they're retcons.
not me,
But
bro. I hate
but
when you fuck with the old shit.
see, I'm not like that at all because he's always done that. Toriyama's always done that. He did
But
that
he's
with
had it, but he used to have it make sense. There's so many plot holes because of it.
there is a lot, but like some of them I think are better. So, like for example, I never thought that it made any sense for Goku to be an actual baby when he met Grandpa Gohan. I've always hated that because it means that Goku is not an actual threat to Grandpa Gohan at all. And yet in Minus, he's old enough to at least be a threat to Grandpa Gohan when he shows up on Earth. Like he is actually dangerous because he's old enough to actually pose a threat to Grandpa Gohan. So there's some things like that that I think I just look at just like overall improvements, you know.
So here's the bottom line. Some retcons are great, some are not.
Yeah.
We can disagree on this one. I don't like this retcon. You're okay with it. Bryant says, does Toriyama foreshadow events in the stories? Yes, dude. He does. For you need to go back and watch the other Mangalorians, bro. You need to go back and
He
watch all
definitely
of
he
the
definitely
streams.
foreshadows, but he also will go back and look at stuff that he's done before and play on it, and that appears as though it's foreshadowing when it's not. Like Gohan
Yes.
Beast, like Gohan Beast, for example. We know he did not plan that at all, but he did go back and read the Buu saga and the different sagas that he had done with Gohan prior, and he was like, "Oh, well, I'm going to play with that and do something with that in modern Dragon Ball." Same thing with Ultra Instinct. That's why whenever Goku uses Ultra Instinct, they show all of his individual masters and all the different teachings of his masters and how that plays into Ultra Instinct, because Toriyama went through and he read all of his work prior and he just used that to build a narrative in the future. Not everything is foreshadowing. Sometimes it's just playing on your past work, you know. So
Yeah, and all of that is true. There's tons of foreshadowing in Dragon Ball, but you cannot say, like, saying that Toriyama foreshadowed shit in Dragon Ball that happens in Super is absolutely silly, because when Dragon Ball ended in 95, Toriyama had no plans to do any movies or come back. He was done. He was finished. That's why I tell people, because people are, I've said this before, and I don't think the fandom fucking understands. I say commonly Dragon Ball ended in 95. Everything after that is DLC, because when Toriyama ended the series, he intended it for it to be over. And it wasn't until later that we got Yo Son Goku, Dragon Ball Minus. Now, obviously, I'm not hating on that, because let me be honest with you. Dragon Ball Super did a lot for me. My whole life has changed because of Dragon Ball Super. I wouldn't own this home. I wouldn't have like actually been in the position I'm at right now, owning property, and like the fact that it's taken me from being a guy who was just a tech to like living a pretty fucking good life. That's because of Super. I know that. But obviously, Super exists because of Dragon Ball, but it's not foreshadowing, because like Jordan said, in Super, Toriyama plays with the past, but there's no way that Toriyama in 1994 was like, one of these days I'm gonna create a Cell Max. That would have been foreshadowing. That is not what this is.
yeah,
So,
I
and I,
just don't want people to get the idea that this is like a Dragon Ball Super hate stream, because I do see people
it's
like,
not.
yeah, I see people like cabbage on like, you know, criticisms of Super in here, and then to like basically like hyper fixate on that. There are good things about Super. There are bad things about Super, but there are good things about Super. It's all a mixed bag
Yes.
in that sense, you know.
Yes. I'm
Um,
just saying that Toriyama never planned Super. He
no, of
didn't
course
even
not.
plan it. He didn't even plan it when Battle of Gods came out. Super wasn't even an idea outside of Toei wanting to do it until Resurrection F. Like, that's when they were
Uh,
talking about making a
Xavier the
series.
God said Gohan being a baby made more sense, Jordan. I don't know if you meant Goku, but no, Goku being a baby makes zero sense. Why would Gohan consider Goku dangerous, or anybody consider Goku dangerous as a child if he's literally an infant who can't do anything? That doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay, let's continue. So he fucking Goku doesn't think that this old Kai is that strong, so he fires a blast at him, bro. And the Kais are like, "Oh my god, dude, you just attacked a god."
Yeah, I know
You
a lot of
just
people who hate this scene because they think it's like character regression for Goku, but I love it.
No, it's just him being stupid and goofy.
Yeah, I agree.
You stupid head. What was that for, idiot? Empty brain. Yeah, he fucking, and then Goku's like, "Oh, he's just another faker. I knew it." Because basically what they're saying is that, and this is something that we talked about for Daima, and it started here. The Kais are not physically powerful. They are not strong like Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, etc. But just like the Majins, the Kais have magical abilities that make them dangerous. The Metamoran fusion is one example of it. Goku says they're weak motherfuckers, but when they fuse, they can become formidable. The Yard Rats, same thing. The Yard Rats are weak fighters, but they have magical abilities. That's what they're trying to tell us here. And he says it. He's afraid of my special power. He has a special power, and we're going to see it with Gohan. And I like that. I like that sometimes it's not about physical strength. It's about magic.
Yeah. I love how old Kai says he doesn't need women's magazines to see naked women, and then later on we see him with magazines like multiple times. It cracks me up.
Well, yeah, Goku offers him a dirty magazine because he knows that Roshi's an old dirty motherfucker, so it might work. And he says, "How about touching a girl's chest and butt? Really? You're not lying, are you sure?" He's just like Muten Roshi. He realizes it. What are you going to do, Dad? Since I can't go back to Earth, you'll have to, introduce him to your girlfriend. Are you crazy? She'll kill me. So Goku is trying to pimp Videl and let the old Kai feel her up. I think this scene is hilarious.
Yeah, a lot of people hate how Goku's characterized here. Like,
and then he offers
so many people whine and complain about these like 4 pages that you've shown here recently are some of the most controversial pages I've seen. Like, people like hate these pages, but I think they're hilarious. But I have seen a lot of people be like, "This is regression," blah 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 blah. Like.
Hold on, I need to respond to somebody here. But yeah. No, I don't know about regression.
Oh,
I think it's just
do agree with that, Tony. I've actually talked about
a gag.
That. I've actually talked about that before. I do think that Beerus didn't like the idea that the old Kai could give somebody a lot of power who didn't earn it. I do agree with that. I've actually talked about that before. I was actually hoping that whenever Gohan Beast was fighting on Beerus's planet in Super, that Beerus would realize that Gohan Beast came from the old Kai, but it never happened. But I had my fingers crossed. I was like, wait, I was hoping the whole time that Beerus was going to be like, wait a minute. Why? Where did this come from? Why is he so strong? And then he would find out that it came from the old Kai. I would love to have seen that. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, and I agree. I would have liked to have seen more information on Gohan Beast. I think we covered it with a few different videos. I have a Gohan Beast transformation guide that goes into all that shit in detail. Yeah. So check that out. I love that.
A little flirting can save the universe.
And then Gohan says, "But that's sexual harassment." And then he's like, "Even if the world is saved, I'll be doomed. Of course, it was Bulma he was thinking of. Now, listen what he says here. My psychic powers allow me to draw out hidden abilities far beyond the limits or even the most
See
skilled
this
fighters.
right here, this panel is one of the most ignored panels in the entire series because he doesn't say that he's going to unlock Gohan's potential to his max. That's not what he says. He said he's going to draw hidden abilities beyond the limits of his normal capabilities. He does not say that he is going to just unlock his latent potential, as in his personal latent potential. He says, I can take you even beyond that. That's what he's saying. Like, people like straight up ignore that. Like, they think that it's like, you know, him having his potential unlocked in the sense that it's just all of his latent potential. And it is, but it's not. It's also beyond. Like, he can go even beyond what he could before. And people just straight up overlook that. They think that, like, you know, he's just as like he has a set power level once he has his potential unlocked, but that's just not true. Like, he can always get stronger, you know.
And that's why, because I have seen some confusion about this, and I don't fully blame people. I don't think this is a critical thinking issue. I understand why people ask this question. You oftentimes hear people say, well, what's the difference between this and what the Grand Elder of Namek did to Gohan then? And the difference is that Gohan, when he was a kid, unlocking his potential back then absolutely made him more powerful. But Gohan's potential now as an adult is far beyond that as a kid. Gohan was already stronger than any other kid back then, but now as an adult, there's more latent potential. And like you said, it actually goes beyond the limits. Yeah. And Gohan Beast, I think, was the it wasn't foreshadowing or planned, but it is like the culmination
beyond.
Of this panel right here.
It's the beyond that he's talking about. Yeah.
Way beyond. Justin says, I don't know if old Kai is a good idea for a mentor for Gohan. He seems a bit suspicious. What if he gives Gohan the John Herbert treatment by having him drink NyQuil? NyQuil, I think he means NyQuil, and then takes advantage of him. I do not know.
I don't think the old Kai has a thing for dudes, bro. So I think he's safe.
Right, but I actually don't even know, and I'm an idiot for this. I don't know who John Herbert is. You could have said Bill Cosby, and I would have known. You know, that's kind of the same thing. I've never heard that story. So look, he says beyond the limits. You know what that means? I'm the only one capable of doing this. He is a much more powerful magician than the old Namekian. Way more powerful magician. But remember what we learned in Daima. Namekians and Kais are both from Demon World 2. Therefore, we can safely, with critical thinking, of course, we can safely agree that Demon World 2 is the one that has the most magicians as far as learning how to unlock power. That was developed in Demon World 2. And so of all the Demon Worlds, 2 is the one that has these characters that might not be physically strong, but they have really powerful magic and unique magic. It's not all about power sometimes. And so maybe they can't fight on their own, but they can help others fight. So this is where old Kai begins to help Gohan. And he's like, stand right there. Here I go. Defeat Buu. And then he starts doing this stupid dance that I thought was funny, right? Goku is looking at it. Everyone's like confused. And this is the ritual. Does it look stupid? Yes. Does Toriyama know it looks stupid? Yes. Toriyama. Well, how many times have I said on this stream, it's not supposed to be that serious?
Yeah.
It's Dragon Ball should not be, it's not that deep. It should be, it's not that serious. It's a gag because a dance this stupid, just like Fusion, they look stupid, but the results are what matters.
Yep.
You know, what ends up happening. So Goku's like, fuck this, I'm gonna take a nap. And Gohan's like, you're gonna have to, or they're like, you have to stay awake, Gohan. So they're doing the fusion, close, but not quite. Piccolo's training them, make sure your key is close. The fusion is complete. So this whole thing here is basically we are progressing the story now with Goten and Trunks learning fusion. And here we see them achieve fusion. So they do it, right? It's done. Here's the explosion. You see it. But wait a minute. What's this? Guess what this is? Another gag. What? Wait a minute. That's the fusion? This is what Goku said would kill Buu? And over here, this fucking guy Yamcha says, I get it. Fight fire with fire. Fight a fat blob with a fat blob. And then we find out that Gotenks is not very strong.
Yeah,
And
he
then
screwed up the position.
and Roshi's the first one to realize it. You guys didn't do it right. If we go back up real quick, let's go back up to the previous. If you look, the bottom fingers are not
Aligned properly.
Yeah, they're not aligned properly. Yep. So, oh, sorry about that. So they end up, yep, try it again. Fusion, huh? And then we have the opposite, Ethiopian Gotenks. Some call them thin Gotenks. I call them Ethiopian Gotenks. Does that make sense?
I mean, it makes sense.
Is it offensive?
I wouldn't necessarily call it offensive, but it's like,
yeah. Well, I'm glad you wouldn't, bro, because we're not snowflakes around here.
It's like dark humor for sure.
I love the sound effect of the fusion dance. It's so cool. I agree. You know the one from the anime?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So now let's try it for a third time. Boom. And then we have the real Gotenks. What do you think about this design?
I always liked it. I always liked the purple wings on each side, you know, like it's unique. Like, and I really like the fusion dances, like the vest and it's almost
the
like a genie.
The Metamorph clothing.
It looks really cool.
Yeah, the baggy pants and the vest I think look fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's a good outfit to use for fighting Buu, particularly because it kind of looks like Buu's outfit.
Yeah, with the white pants. But I agree with you. I've always liked the purple and black like that. I've always loved that. I have this figure, base Gotenks, and I love it. To be honest, I think base Gotenks is the most unique looking Gotenks of all the different ones. Justin says, I call skinny Gotenks post oxymepic. Oh, yeah. Ozempic, that's right. That's the new diabetes and weight loss medicine that people are taking now, like a lot of them are.
Oh, yeah, you did skip the thing where Krillin says that Toriyama's reusing a panel.
We need to where is that at? Because I wanna talk about it. Where is that? Because I do like that.
Go left.
Left.
Yeah, or go the next page on the left. My bad.
Up or down?
Too far back.
I went too far back. Okay.
Yeah, it's right there. I think it's right there. I think at the bottom left, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, that's not it. I don't know. I don't know where it's at. I don't see it.
No, I mean, and I do want to cover that because that is, I think, pretty.
Yeah, he does
cool.
There's a thing where Krillin's like, did he just reuse a panel? Yeah.
Yeah.
He said it's the next page. He said that we shouldn't have gone backwards. We should have went forward. So.
Oh, okay. Well, then if it's the next page, motherfucker, I didn't skip it. I just didn't get there yet.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
No, there it is.
Is
to
it
the
here?
Go back. The one with the yellow background right there.
Oh, right here. Wait a minute. What's Toriyama trying to pull? What's Toriyama trying to pull? These panels have got to be photocopies. And then there he is. He's right there wearing the outfit. He's wearing the outfit right here. You really don't have to pay. You really don't have to pay me for this page.
Yep.
So this
people want to give Toyotaro shit for tracing, even though he doesn't trace, and then they want to they want to ignore stuff like this.
You know what's funny though? This is only the second time that Toriyama has drawn himself into Dragon Ball. But in Slump,
he's there all the time. He's there in like multiple forms. Yeah,
all his forms: Bird Toriyama, Human Toriyama, Robo Toriyama. Yeah, he's got a lot of forms, bro. But yes, let me take a screenshot of this because I've always found that to be a hilarious gag, and it's cool that it's like only the second time,
that
he's ever done that. The first time was the Wanted poster. Remember the
Wanted
poster?
Also, there's the one where he's in the tree, but that's not in this. That's in the anime. But there is one in the anime where he's like sitting up in a tree. He's like
climbing it or something. Yeah. So actually, now, Roshi straight up says, "Okay, this is like a storm of ki," and Gotenks is like, don't underestimate me. In 30 minutes, you'll do it again as Super Saiyans. He's like, this is enough for Buu. He's like, don't be stupid. You have no idea how powerful Buu is. You still don't stand a chance. And then Gotenks is like, I'll go handle it. So Gotenks takes off. There he is. Now he's going to go fight Buu. And he comes back and Buu kicked his ass. Now, the anime has the actual fight.
Yeah.
In a filler episode, Gotenks fights Fat Buu. He fights him right in this, like on top of a battleship or near a battleship. And I made a video about this. I fucking love that fight. That is some of my favorite filler because the fight was fun and it showed Fat Buu.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you're right, bro. I'm sorry about that. It showed Fat Boo's strength. What do you think?
I loved the fight, yeah. Yeah, I thought the fight was great.
He's all fucking tore up, bro. So Piccolo was right. So he's like, we have 1 day left. Use that time to train. The fusion will be more effective once you've gotten stronger. Do you understand? Meanwhile, the ritual is still going on. Meanwhile, Buu is destroying the planet or the cities on the planet. Oh, hold on. I fucked up. And hold on. Give me 1 second, Jordan.
You're fine.
No, I fucked up. Okay, there we go. I zoomed in over here and not over there. So in a single day, Buu has destroyed more than 80% of the Earth's population and cities. Like a child at play, Buu takes pleasure in killing not only those who resist, but also those who try to run away. Most victims are blown up, but sometimes whenever he's hungry, he changes people into candies and eats them. Armies on Earth haven't just been sitting around. They've tried to attack him, but they haven't been able to do a thing against him, so they stopped trying. Now, in the past, Toriyama showed the armies, like Cell, for example, the army trying to kill Cell. But here, Toriyama's like, I'm not going to show that again, so I'll just summarize it. So these two panels are basically just a summary of what's been going on.
Yep.
But the survivors haven't lost all hope. They've learned from listening to the radio that the savior is still alive. Everyone's waiting for him. Inside the shelter, the champion is recovering from the Budokai. I fucking love how Toriyama writes this.
Yeah.
The one that easily defeated Cell, the strongest man in the universe. Right now, the most famous legendary man has awoken, and he's preparing to make his move against Buu, which the hope of the world lays on his shoulders. That's right. The proud, unfailing warrior of myth, Mr. Satan, made his move at last. Can you imagine reading this for the first time in Shonen Jump in the 90s, bro?
Yeah, it'd be wild. Yeah, you're like, what's he gonna do?
Toriyama built this up so well. So this is where things start getting wacky. So Satan shows up and he's like, I'll take care of this. You guys can leave. I have a secret weapon. And he's doing the whole thing where he's basically telling people he'll handle it, and then these guys basically dip. And excuse me. They want him to yell at Boo, but he's saying his throat is hurt. So instead, he yells at Boo, "Hey, Boo, come out. Satan came to finish you off." And then Satan is like, "Oh, no." So he hides behind this thing. Boo is back. And then he's like, "I don't think he's here," because he's not back yet, but he thinks that he throws a pebble because he thinks Boo is back and he's not in there. So he's like, "Oh, he's not here." And Satan is happy because he knows deep down inside he's a phony.
Yeah,
And they're like,
thank God.
I scared you off. Hey, Fatso, I know where you got your name. Boo his ass, right? And then he's like, and then look, "I'm sorry, Master Boo. Everything I just said was a joke. I'm sorry. Please forgive me." And then he realizes that it's not Boo. It's a random lizard. This is great. This is Dr. Slump right here.
Yeah.
101.
Even the paneling for this short section of the manga is different.
This paneling is just like the Slump paneling.
Yeah, he literally switches to doing Dr. Slump style paneling for this particular section of the manga.
Yes, he does. Because this is all comedy. So Boo meets Mr. Satan. And he's like, "What kind of candy should I make you into before I eat you? A cookie or maybe a berry?" And he's like, No. I brought some presents for you. I love this in the anime and the manga. He's like, "Oh, look at these chocolates." And he's like, "Chocolate? Let's gourmet mean. I mean, they're very delicious." Boo eats them. And then Satan is like, he ate the food, but they're laced with a deadly poison. And then he's like, "Oh, that was good. The poison had no effect." Poison is not going to affect a demon, especially one as strong as Boo.
Yeah.
And he says it's even better than human chocolate. So then what does he do? He pulls out a Game Boy. And what I love about this is that is literally a Game Boy.
Yeah, it's not a fake. It's not a stand-in, so he doesn't get sued. That's an actual Game Boy.
It is a Nintendo Game Boy from the 90s. And I agree with parts. You can tell Toriyama enjoyed drawing this section. I agree. Justin says, "Danny, I have a question. Have you ever heard the rumors of the Buu arc having references to World War II?" All of Dragon Ball has World War II references because Toriyama loved.
He was a history buff, especially Japanese history. Yeah.
Yeah, and Toriyama loves drawing like tanks and soldiers and
explosions.
Yeah, so yes, there's a lot of World War II in his work. Now, as far as like for this arc, there's a little bit in there. I wouldn't say it's that much. The Red Ribbon arc's the one that has a lot of that.
Yeah.
And yes, this is the original Game Boy. This is before Game Boy Pocket and Game Boy Color. And he even says, "It's a Game Boy." What? Let's see. No, not like that. It's too hard. I'll put an easier game in. How about this one? So there's a bunch of games, and then he runs away and detonates the fucking bomb, and he's like, "Game over like fucking Bison in the Street Fighter movie. Raul Julia, rest in peace. And he's like, that was kind of fun. And then Satan's like, oh no, you're fun. You can be my servant. And he's like, that would be an honor. This is all good stuff. It's like, these are human candies. Try eating them. And then Mr. Satan is eating the former
Yeah, the way he
humans. Like,
draws him eating the candy is hilarious.
I can't do this. It used to be a person. And then he spits out the fucking candy. He's like, look over there. What? He spits it out. Because he knows that it's just.
He doesn't want to disrespect Boo by not eating it, but he doesn't want to eat it.
Yeah, he wants Boo to think that he ate it. And then right when he turns his head, he goes for an elbow. And then Boo just no-sells it. And he's like, oh, what's there? Okay, I'll kill it. And he just fires a blast and just blows something up. I love the giant eyes. Look how this is like the boobs with Yamcha way back in the beginning of the arc. That was amazing, Master Boo. You're incredible. I mean it. So again, Boo likes the compliments. Can I get a picture with you? And then this is him basically saying, I'm going to set this up to fool the world by making people think that I killed Boo. And then this part right here, Boo is giving, or I'm sorry, Satan is giving Boo a bath. I've seen some people make fun of this scene and say that it's like gay.
I mean, he's his servant, so.
Yeah, I don't know about if I would go so far as to say gay because they're not attracted to each other. But let me tell you something
Japanese humor is just weird, bro, and different. Like Japanese people are different too.
It's not just Japanese humor though. Let me educate everybody. In Japan, there are these places called hot springs. And when you go to a hot spring, you can sit in the hot spring with other people. It's like it's basically a public jacuzzi. So you've got men and women there and they sit in the hot spring. Now, a lot of times the hot springs are public and people go in them naked.
Yeah,
so
and
like
they'll
you'll
like
see,
massage each other's back and like all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
you will see old ass wrinkly men in there with their dicks out. Now, is that weird? Yes, it's fucking weird. But the Japanese don't care. They just don't care. Now, you can go in the hot spring wearing like swim trunks. There's nothing wrong with that. But traditionally, going back centuries in Japan, many people, men and women, bathed in the hot springs naked. It's just how they are.
Yep.
It's Japanese humor. That's why when you see Goten, Trunks, and Gohan in that one scene with Goku where they're in the bathtub, it's actually normal in Japan to take baths with other people. It's normal. I'm just letting everybody know that. Weird. Rachel Zegler, bro. All right, let's finish this up. So this is chapter 482, perfected at last. So this is more of the Gohan, old Kai training. There's not too much stuff here, but Gohan.
Yeah, he's basically you can basically start to see that Gohan's starting to get pissed off from having to wait.
He's also skeptical that it'll do anything.
Yeah.
This is correct. So meanwhile, they go Super Saiyan and they're going to try and do the fusion while Super Saiyan. They do it and bam, we've got Super Gotenks. I think he looks badass.
He looks awesome, yeah.
So now he's going to go fight Boo again. He's off, but first, before doing that, he literally
circles the globe like 20 times.
You know what this reminds me of, right?
Arale?
No, man.
Well,
Superman 1970.
Oh yeah, Superman. Yeah. Whenever he flies so far, where he freaking reverses time from flying around the Earth so many times. Yeah, that was wild. Yeah, true that.
I love that. Like, I actually love that ending. Superman 1978. Yep. Trenton remembers. Brian remembers.
Yeah, that's good.
Right. Now he's like my speed, my strength, and then new idiot. He only has a minute left of the fusion. What an asshole. I like it because he shows up and he
He's ready to
literally,
fight.
yeah, he's like, hey, Boo, show your ugly face. And then right when he says that, this happens. And they're like, oh no. And then they get the fuck out of there. And then Boo comes out and he's like, did somebody say my name? And he's like, see, it was your imagination. Who would ever dare to say anything bad about you? What a fucking phony. But one thing I like is that Satan being a phony actually leads to them having a pretty good friendship. One thing I
Yeah.
like about Dragon Ball Super is that Dragon Ball Super gives us, and I wanted more of it, a little bit of the Satan Boo relationship. And I do like their like their friendship.
Yeah, and this is interesting because it basically shows that kindness, even if not genuine, can have the type of impact that it has on Boo here. Which is
And I love how Toriyama opens the next chapter with Satan flicking him off and fucking yelling at him and calling him names. I love it. I love it. And Patora's shoe died too. When the people in the town found out, he said, what a horrible thing we've done. And then Boo laughs at it and he's like, what? This is funny to you? And he's like, I'm off to kill more people. It's just nothing to him. And Satan is like, oh, I want you to come. And he's like, I'll cook something for you, right? And he's like, get ready for the best meal ever. So this is a real friendship that like Boo, no one's ever been this nice to Boo. Babidi was not his friend. Satan is not really his friend, but like you said, Boo thinks he is.
yeah.
And then meantime, he's got this big ass bundle of TNT. And he's like, if I use this much dynamite, it's sure to blow him up no matter how strong he is. This could blow a tank to shreds. All I have to do to save the earth is to push his remote control switch. So the idea he's going to do is try to set up Boo. Now we're going to get to a scene. I'm going to be honest with you, Jordan. This is one of the scenes in Dragon Ball Z that actually makes me feel angry. Like, I do not like these characters. So we have this old couple, these grandparents, and we have a sniper straight up shoot them in the head and kill them. These two guys right here, bro, are going around randomly sniping normal people for fun.
Yeah.
The reason why this bothers me, let me explain. Yes, we've seen Vegeta, Frieza, Piccolo, Boo, Cell. They've all killed innocent people. The difference is that this way of killing with a sniper is realistic. It's very realistic, and it makes me feel a certain type of way. Am I wrong on that?
No, and I think that you're justified in that. It's the same kind of anger Goku feels whenever he sees somebody get hurt. It's the same thing,
But
But
a sniper rifle exists in the real world.
yeah,
Boo, Cell, and
and
Frieza
killing a
don't.
grandma in itself is horrible to think about. But what I think now, what I've always, this doesn't necessarily make me mad, but it does like turn on the analytical side of my brain, where it's like what I think is very interesting about this is the fact that he says that he's always wanted to shoot a person and that it feels good to him. Because I don't know about you, but that makes me think of all the way back whenever Dragon Ball Z started and Raditz showed up and he was like, why don't you want to kill people? It's fun. It's enjoyable. It's something Saiyans do. We love it. We enjoy it when we do it. Why don't you enjoy it when you do it? That doesn't make any sense. You're a Saiyan. That's supposed to be, part of who you are, is enjoying the thrill of killing innocent people. And it's like, one thing that Toriyama is doing in this arc that a lot of people overlook is he is pointing out that not only is what made the Saiyans evil, but it's universal. It can apply to anybody. It can apply to the humans. It can apply to Buu. It can apply to anybody. This maliciousness that comes with enjoying hurting people and enjoying destroying things and hurting people can apply to anybody. That's why Toriyama specifies that Buu enjoys and has fun destroying things and killing people. Same thing with this guy right here. He enjoys shooting people and killing people. He actually enjoys it. It creates an emotional, it creates a stimulation, like a primal stimulation in his brain. It's pleasure, And what makes this really interesting is when Buu kills these guys, it's like the perfect symbolic representation of getting rid of this aspect of Buu's personality. So it's almost like these characters represent what Buu is getting ready to discard as a character.
Yes, they do. Absolutely. And these characters also represent the evil that mankind can do on each other, because these are not aliens, they're not magician demons, they're regular people. This fucking asshole is not only killing innocent people, but he is the cause as to why. Like, if you want to blame someone for why Majin Buu blew up the earth, it's this guy. Because as we're about to find out, Mr. Satan actually convinces Buu to stop killing people. So Mr. Satan, it was all a joke until Mr. Satan actually did defeat Majin Buu. Not by beating him in a fight, but he turned Majin Buu into not being a killer. So Satan is the hero. Satan is the hero. And like, he is. You can't even argue that. And
Buu is the manifestation of the evil of mankind. Somebody just pointed that out. Yes. Toriyama is doing this on purpose. He is pointing out to you what evil that Buu absorbed that he's discarding. That's literally, you hit it right on the head. That's literally what's happening here.
You literally hit it on the head. And I think Toriyama's going for cheap heat. I think he wanted to figure out a way to make these characters unlikable because of where this is going. So and the scene in the anime is also really tragic. And look at these people are dead, bro, and they're laughing about it. Let's kill some more people. There's a city that should still have a lot of people in it. Meanwhile, Mr. Satan's cooking eggs, chilling. Goku comes back and he's like, it's not, or Goku, I keep saying that. Buu comes back, and then he brings this puppy that's hurt. Now, he's like, why'd you bring that dog? He wasn't scared of me. This is exactly what happened with the blind kid. Majin Buu connects with people who are not afraid of him. And I really think that's a powerful message.
Well, he gets pleasure out of people being afraid of him. And then when they aren't afraid of him, he doesn't understand it. And then when he helps them, he gets pleasure from that. And he doesn't understand that either. He's like, wait a minute, I actually enjoy helping people. That's weird,
Yeah, and that's the Grand Kai inside of him. He's like, he isn't running away. I don't understand it. And he's like, I can't understand it, but it looks like he hurt his leg. That's why he wasn't running away. So Boo's like, I see. And then Buu uses his healing power to heal the dog. Now, this was Toriyama, not just with the two asshole sniper guys, but this is Toriyama now trying to play with the emotions of people who are dog lovers or people who have pets. If you have a puppy, you don't want your puppy to be hurt. So Majin Buu healing a puppy is going to make all the dog owners reading the book, they're like, wow. Like,
Toriyama at one point had 50 pets.
Really? I didn't even know that.
He is a ridiculous animal lover.
Yes. What pets did he have?
all kinds of pets, mainly birds. I remember one time
Well,
he
that
talked
makes
about.
sense.
I remember one time he talked about an interview about how he even wanted to get a chimpanzee, but he realized that it was like unrealistic. But yeah, he
Yeah,
just
we
loved
know he
it.
had the cats because Beerus and
Yeah,
what's his name, Corin are based on Karin are based on cats.
yeah.
So Trenton says, "Is Boo's healing greater than Dende's?" I don't know. It's about the same, but I would not be surprised if it is. And once again, guys, this is another tie-in to Demon World 2 because the demons there know healing. Majin Buu knows healing. Is it safe to say, Jordan, that has the reason as to why Boo has the power to heal is because of the Grand Kai? Is that one of his abilities?
I think that's safe to assume, but I also think that Boo himself is a magical creature
Right.
that
He can
is
do almost anything.
yeah, he's a reflection of the magic that comes from the demon realm. So I think that he would naturally have access to those types of abilities.
And then Boo is like, well, now now I healed him. And then Satan's like, no, dude, he loves you now. And then Boo starts playing with the dog. Again, this is all super adorable, super cute. This is Toriyama is writing these panels, this and the other guys, to show the inverse. Boo is now a representation of people who are
And empathy.
peaceful,
Yeah.
yeah, and who do good things. The Jesus Christ thing with him healing, sick people, and now the humans are the bad guys. This is the only time, these few manga panels is the only time where the main villains of the series are humans. Think about what I just said. Like, isn't that kind of fucked up?
It's crazy. I love it.
Temporarily, yeah. So, does he like me? Yes, sir, he does. He's wagging his tail. You like me too, don't you? He's like, sure. So now Boo is making friends. And then basically they talk about giving him dog food. He's going to go and get the dog food. And then he's like, here's my chance. And then he's like about to blow up Boo, but he sees Boo licking the dog. And he's like, he looks happy. And then he's like, I'll do it later. He's got the puppy with him. This is Satan basically saying, like, maybe I shouldn't kill that guy. Like, this is the conversion to him being good. We're
Yeah.
seeing it. Meanwhile, this motherfucker with his Uzi, which by the way, in the Viz version of the manga, they changed the name, the way the gun looks into it being more like a laser gun instead of it being a real gun. Because this is a real gun. Toriyama draws real guns in these manga.
Yeah. One of my favorite gags from Doctor Slump, which was probably definitely censored, is there's one episode where there's a bunch of criminals that kidnapped Raleigh and the group, and the cops show up, and there's this female cop who wants to shoot into the building so bad that whenever her superior officer tells her that there's hostages in there and she can't shoot inside the house, she's like, well, can I shoot the hostages? And then she just starts like shooting bullets like into the house, and like, Senbei and Arale are like having to like dodge
It's
bullets.
like lunch.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
So here we have these guys killing more innocent people. Again, why are we going from Boo to these guys? This is what's called a juxtaposition. Toriyama's trying to program the reader into saying, okay, Boo's doing all these cute things that humans just mush over, whether you're Japanese, American, British, Canadian. Dragon Ball transcends Japan because anybody can relate to it, even if you're not Japanese. There's a lot of manga that don't do that. Toriyama's Dragon Ball definitely did it. And then Graham says that the episode where they shoot the puppy is called "The Evil That Men Do," and I actually like that title in the dub, and I've actually said that about that episode. Like, it is the evil that men do, because
Yep.
that's what's going on right now. It's the humans that are causing this issue. It's not Babidi. It's not Deborah. It's not the demon realm. It's humans. So here they're blowing shit up. Satan comes back with the dog food. Boo tries to eat it, but says it tastes nasty. And and then he's like, "Why do you kill people? Because it's fun." This is like John Connor talking to the T-800. You can't just go around killing people. Why? Because you can't. Why? You just can't. Okay.
Yeah, I love that. I love that
That's
scene.
how they taught me to play. Bibbidi and Bobbidi. Who are they? People who made me. Oh, you shouldn't listen to people like that. I don't think it's right to kill and destroy stuff. And then Boo makes a face and he's like, but if you'd like doing that, go ahead. Satan has no idea what to tell him. Do you think it's bad for me to do that? And he's like, yeah. Okay, I won't do it anymore. You won't kill anymore? Nope. I won't destroy stuff. Nope. Say that. That's it.
Powerful.
It's done.
So powerful.
No, it's over. Like, Satan just saved the world.
Yeah.
That's it. Dragon Ball's finished. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
done. I did it. I'm a genius. I'm incredible. I'm the champion of the world. He does deserve to be called the champion for this, not because of his physical strength, but because of the fact that he fucking changed Majin Buu just by befriending him,
By
just
being kind to him, yes.
being kind. Yes. Meanwhile, these assholes get to Boo's house. I don't know if people could guess what's going to happen, but here we are, right? And Boo is playing with the dog. This is happy times. Boo is having the time of his life playing catch with the dog. You don't have to kill people, just play catch with the dog, right? And then the dog gets fucking sniped. I can only. Is there anybody walking the face of the planet that wasn't pissed off at this fuck? I feel like if you read these two panels and you don't feel a certain type of way, you're not human.
I agree.
You know, like Toriyama really tried to hammer home like how fucked up this is. Justin says, same with Glenn. Wait, oh no, not Justin. Sway's Shadow Man. Same with Glenn from Chucky saying why you kill people. I actually don't remember that. I do not remember that. And then I was beyond pissed. I love animals more than humans. A lot of people say that. Is it Toriyama getting cheap heat? It is, but I feel like this is my opinion. I feel your voice is hoarse. It's been that way for a while, bro. I'm good. I'm talking like it's been almost 3 hours, bro, and I'm talking, so that happens.
yeah.
So what I was gonna say was I think Toriyama knew that this would be cheap heat, and that's why he wrote it, because he probably couldn't figure out a better way to illustrate Boo's changing.
Yep.
Okay, now Justin says, oh boy, Boo's gonna have a John Wick moment in a sec. Yes, it's totally John Wick. You nailed it. So the dog gets shot. Satan and Boo are like, what? One down, boss. Isn't that
Pain
Mr.
of loss.
Look at his face, bro.
Yeah, this is like the feeling that Goku felt whenever Krillin got killed. Like Boo's experiencing that for the first time. He's experiencing that aspect of human nature. It's like very interesting.
And now Majin Buu, this is very important for the future of Majin Buu. Majin Buu now knows what it feels like to have somebody he cares about killed. And that adds to what Satan told him about
It not being
why,
good.
yeah, about why killing people is wrong. Like, you know what? It hurts.
Now he's learning firsthand why it's wrong.
Right. And that's great writing. Gabby says the scene always disturbed me, being a massive animal lover. Me too. I mean, I talked about it. That scene is fucked. But I feel like, and I'm not making excuses, Toriyama probably felt like we're going to have to go there with this because it's the only way to get people to resonate emotionally. You know what it reminds me of, Jordan?
What?
Remember the scene in JoJo where what's his name, bro? The villain. Dio throws the dog in the oven.
Yes, that's disturbing. Yes, I remember.
I remember looking at that being like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like throwing
It is cheap heat, but it's intense heat, you know.
Vince McMahon calls it white hot heat.
Yeah.
That which brought forth by anger. So these guys are there being dicks, and Satan's like, what are these fucking guys doing? Then go to hell, bam, boom, explosion. Look at this fucking guy, bro. And now he's got a fucking rocket launcher. So he fires the rocket launcher, right? Destroys Majin Buu's house. I've blown him to bits. Ha ha ha, you know.
This is like ultimate karma, bro. This is like the ultimate form of karma that Boo is dealing with right here. It really sucks. It sucks because I think what makes this so powerful is that like Toriyama really exaggerates the fact that Boo is kind of innocent and that he doesn't understand why killing is wrong. And
now
these guys do understand why it's wrong, but they don't care. Like they just don't give a shit. Like they're actually more evil than Boo in that sense. So it's like
that's why I said they're the main villains of Dragon Ball right now.
Yeah, his house being destroyed is the same thing that he did to all of these cities and the same thing that he's done to countless people's houses, and he's experienced. It's like the illusion that he was building for himself has just been destroyed, which is really interesting.
By the way, Graham, we're watching Saw 3 tonight, so make sure you're there. Just letting you know that. I don't know if you knew that. So, okay. In the anime, if I remember correctly, doesn't the guy go into the house and shoot Satan with a handgun?
No, he still shoots Satan. It's just not yet. It just happens here in a few minutes. Because Mr. Satan gets mad about the dog getting killed, and then he tries to stand up for him.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So, but I think the house was not destroyed. Maybe I'm misremembering. So there's steam coming out. He's pissed off. And they're like, oh no, what are we going to do? And he's like, what? And then Satan appears. I'm going to show no mercy. And now this right here is when the audience is like, you know what? Let's go.
Satan is the hero of justice. He's awesome.
Toriyama, in just like 4 chapters, has gone. This is fucking brilliant. Toriyama in 4 chapters, that's 1 month, has made you go from being annoyed at Satan and not liking Majin Buu to fucking
rooting for them. Yeah.
Rooting for them, making them both super lovable good guys. Like they are lovable, bro, because you can relate as to why he's fucking pissed. You don't deserve to live. Meanwhile, Boo is like a zombie right now.
Well, he's watching Mr. Satan's approach because he's like, wait a minute. This is the guy that told me that killing is bad. And yet he's being completely merciless and wants to kill this guy.
So they killed first.
Yeah, he is learning the correct philosophy, ironically, through Mr. Satan, which is very interesting.
And also the fact that his name is Satan. We'll talk more about that in a minute. These 4 chapters have better character buildup than all of Super. I don't know about all of Super.
It is good.
Yeah, I don't know about everything in Super, but yeah, it is good. What do you think is the best, in your opinion, the best character building moment in Super?
I mean, a lot of it is for previously established characters.
I agree, but what do you think?
I really like how they handle Vegeta in Super.
Same.
The build-up's not as fast, but it's long and drawn out, but it's really well done. I also like how they handle Piccolo. I mean, I like how they handle all the characters pretty much for the most part. There's a few characters that I'm kind of about. Like, you know, I think they kind of did Yamcha dirty. You know, like there's a few characters where I'm just like, well, they don't do much with them, but they end up justifying it at some point in the end, like whenever Yamcha comes back to help fight in the Moral arc and stuff like that. So, like, you know, I don't know, like a lot of Super, I think, handles characters really well. So
John says Hit. No, bro, Hit has no fucking character development.
well, no,
Trunks
Hit does have character development. It's just not
like what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And then Trenton brings up Beerus.
Beerus is good.
Griffin brings up Moral arc as a top 5 Dragon Ball arc. He does like that arc a lot. For me, I think, my opinion, the best character buildup in Super is Goku Black and how Zamasu became Goku Black. That's my personal favorite.
I think the one I would compare to that is Mirrors. I really like how Mirrors is like a galactic patrolman, and then he ends up becoming like he basically like gains an understanding of Goku's philosophy and stuff like that. Like I like that character build up as well. But
okay, Trent says Beerus because we still don't know what he's capable of.
That has nothing to do with character progression.
That has nothing to do with character development, bro. We're not talking about power. We're talking about character development.
Jiren's is cool, but I think Jiren's is also kind of long and drawn out in comparison, and also kind of subtle. This one's not subtle at all. Like this scene with Boo and Mr. Satan is not subtle at all. Like it's very, very in your face, very intense, and very like with Jiren, it's like he's already a hero of justice. So you already know that he kind of has a sense of morals and stuff like that anyway. It is really cool that he has to reckon with his own morals and his sense of justice and learn the value of martial arts. But this is like, you know, Mr. Satan, the guy who lies all the time and tries to like take credit for doing great things all the time. You know, like these two characters had a lot more heat on them than Jiren did. So I think that's what makes this like way more satisfying than a lot of the other stuff that we've seen. Particularly,
even though Jiren is more powerful, and that's why we're not talking about power. We're talking about character growth. You know, I will tell you one thing too. One of my favorite character moments in Super. This is one that I think nobody talks about, but when it happened, I loved it, and I still love it to this day. It was only in the anime, okay? I love the scene where they try to convince Videl that Gohan cheated on her. And she's like, no, Gohan would never do that. That is so wonderful.
Yeah.
That awesome. She did not believe. She had so much faith and trust in her husband that she didn't believe. If only women in the real world were like Videl. That was a really those two filler episodes weren't the best, but that moment right there, bro, I think was a really, really great moment for Videl.
Yeah, it was a great moment for Gohan too, to be honest.
And Gohan.
W for Gohan.
Okay, hold on, brother. You said this is the first time comment, bro. I already saw your comment earlier, and I highlighted it. This is not your first comment because you wrote the exact same thing like 30 minutes ago. You just copy pasted it. Thank you for the kind words. I did highlight it though. Like I did show it for everyone. So Jiren's not a bad choice as far as
he just doesn't have as much heat on him as these characters do. Not even
and also there's a lot of mysteries behind him too. I don't think Beerus and Whis have that much development from the beginning of Super to where we are, I guess, with Superhero. But the reason why I picked Zamasu is because we actually see him go from a Kaio to being this evil character.
Yeah.
And we see it transpire with Vegeta, though. I love when Vegeta's like going crazy over Pan. And I'm sorry, not Pan, Bra. And he's holding the baby and he's like, no, this is my daughter. That's one of the most adorable scenes in the entire series because you would have never pictured Vegeta like that. And like I've said a million times, I'm so sick of these fucking so-called knowledgeable Dragon Ball fans, so-called, saying that Vegeta regressed in Super. There is no fucking way in Dragon Ball Z that Vegeta would ever be holding a baby close to him, caring. He didn't even care about Trunks as a baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where in the fuck is Vegeta like that in Z, bro?
0%.
Super Vegeta is different than Z Vegeta.
Yeah.
And I think Vegeta's he didn't regress. It got better. Let's
we're
keep
gonna.
going.
There's a lot of good character moments, guys, but we're gonna move on.
Yeah, we got to move on because we're already at the 3-hour mark, and I knew it was going to be long, but we got to move on. So the dog is still alive. So Boo rushes over and heals the dog. Huh?
Yeah, heals him. Yeah.
Heals him, right? Yes. Okay. And then what's going on here is Piccolo and Dende are watching what's going on. I actually saw this. Here's a little trivia note. The very first Japanese fan sub Dragon Ball Z episode I saw was this one. Dragon Ball Z episode 254 and 255. We were staying after school one day and we were in the band room, where the band plays their instruments. And we were part of the anime club. And one of my friends named Matt Farmer, that was his name. He always smelled like piss. Sorry, but he did. He brought in a tape of this episode, and I thought it was fucking awesome. So he's healed. Then, boom. Huh? Satan?
Mr. Satan gets shot. Yeah.
And then it's this motherfucker again. Now look at his face. And then he's trying to heal him again. And he does. He's back.
This is a Super Saiyan moment. He's having a Super Saiyan trigger right now.
Yes, he is. So even though he healed Satan, hold on. No, he's not, bro. No, he is not. Don't even start that shit.
He thinks he's a good guy, but he's not a good guy.
He's not. He's a horrible.
There's a difference between perceiving yourself as a good guy and actually being a good guy. Those are two different things.
Yes, correct. And no, bro. This is like when people say that Thanos was right. No, he wasn't. Okay, far too Saga. Oh, in the anime, this was in the house while Satan was cooking. Yes, it was. That's what I mentioned earlier. Satan was cooking and the house wasn't destroyed. So the anime version is different. It definitely is different. Hold on. This guy said, whoever said Vegeta regressed in Super is dumb. And did you not see my Bulma in Battle of Gods, which is part of Super continuity? Well, it's called Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods in the movie, bro. It's Dragon Ball Z. It happened. Now, I agree with everything you said here, but you can't be talking about dumb comments, brother. Let's not forget what happened a few streams ago. You have no room to talk. Let's keep going, though. So even though
he literally tells Mr. Satan to leave exactly like Goku tells Gohan to leave on Namek. It's literally the exact same thing.
Exactly, yes. And at this point, he cannot stop it. At this point, he cannot control himself. He is like, so get out of here or you'll die. He knows something bad is going on. Thank you so much, brother. You don't have to say sorry. I'm just letting you know I did see your previous comment. Hurry and do it, and then he runs. And then now at this point, I think some fans were thinking, oh, he's going to probably
transform.
Yeah, exactly. Benjamin is right about this. I like when y'all are kind to each other. And then we see this big cloud. And he's like, and then the cloud starts to take shape. What's happening? The two Majin Buus. And then chapter 485. So we have this Majin Buu known as Evil Buu or Gray Buu. This is exactly the same idea that we saw earlier with Kami and with Piccolo. The difference is that with Buu, Boo was turning good little by little, and his anger manifested itself into this evil Boo. So it's not the same thing, but it's the same idea. He
Yeah.
expelled all of the evil in his body, and that's what we got. What do you think about this? I actually like this form a lot.
Yeah, I
This
do
is
too.
Ethiopian Boo again.
I've always
I,
liked this design.
I have a figure of this, bro.
It's cool because it parallels Gotenks and whenever he's in his two forms as well. That's what I like about it.
Wait, who?
Gotenks, when he's in his fat and his skinny form, this is like that.
Yeah, you're right, because one is fat and one is skinny.
Yeah.
Because of the incredible anger that Boo felt, the evil inside of him grew greatly. It became another Boo. In other words, they separated into evil Majin Buu and innocent Buu. Some call him good Buu, but innocent Buu is probably. Yeah, I have the figure in the other room of this Buu. We only see this Majin Buu in like 2 chapters and like 2 episodes, and that's it. He is not there for a long time. I still like the design.
Me
Now,
too.
the first thing that this Boo does, flies backwards and finds these guys. And at this point, I can't even blame this Boo. The reason as to why this happened, though, is because this Boo is Majin Buu's anger. So he points at him, fires a blast. He's fucking dead.
You know
This
what?
is so satisfying, Jordan.
You know what? This makes it so much more blatant that Toriyama intended for Boo's destructive nature to be karma for mankind. Because the only reason that Boo became evil Boo, according to Toriyama in his original interviews, is because he absorbed the evil mankind. So Boo himself is almost like a reflection of karma, and this is him like being very blatant about that, which is interesting.
Yes, I agree with that. Okay, and then the big explosion. I'm happy about that. Then we have the evil Boo get right in Majin Buu's face. This is a great panel, by the way. I actually love it, and the way he runs is funny. So then they
Yeah.
start to fight. Right hook again. Back and forth. Big kick. He goes down. The original Boo had no chance when they separated. Most of the power went to the evil Boo. So the evil Boo is stronger. I know some people didn't know that, but he is. So now the anime version of this fight is much longer. So he uses his magical power to turn Boo into candy. But this Majin Buu is able to reverse the technique by blowing on it. It hits Boo, and for the first time, Boo got a taste of his own medicine. This is Dragon Ball Karma.
Karma.
Goku or Boo kills people. He got to experience dying. Turns them into food. Now he got to experience that. He's food. Skinny Boo eats it. Now, usually when a Boo eats somebody, they die. But because this is a special chocolate, because it's Majin Buu, that's not what happens. He fucking smiles. He powers up and he mutates into this new version of Boo. Now, I want to let everybody know about the history of this Super Boo, right? Funimation did not come up with the name Super Boo. Super Boo is what he was called on all the merchandise. He's not called Super Boo in the manga or in the anime. You never hear them say that name. But on the toys and in the video games, it's Super Boo. So he is called
Which
Super
makes
Boo.
sense because it's kind of like the same thing as Super Saiyan, where
Super
it's like,
Vegeta.
yeah, it's like the anger and the innocence put together and creating like a super form. It is almost kind of in a weird way like his Super Saiyan form, honestly, which is interesting.
Hold on a second. Okay. All right. I had to answer somebody. So So Boo, now this is interesting. He goes up to Satan, but he doesn't kill him. Well, first he powers up, right? And then Piccolo's like, holy shit, this is bad. Oh, okay. It's not even in this volume. Yeah, Super Boo confronts Satan but doesn't kill him. We're going to talk more about that next time. So that's the cliffhanger for Manga Volume 40. Super Boo has been born. It's an evil Boo, but this version of Boo is more powerful because Majin Buu's power was being suppressed because now this is what happened because of the Grand Supreme Kai's absorption. And we find this out later on. Majin Buu's true power was being suppressed. Now that evil Buu came out and he absorbed the fat Buu, now he can tap into his real power, which is malicious, destructive power. And we're seeing it here with Super Buu. What do you think about this version of Buu? Like the design? He kind of looks like a little fella, if you know what I mean.
I actually kind of prefer Kid Buu, but I do like Super Buu.
Me too.
I like all the Buu forms. I just kind of prefer Kid Buu. But
yep. So now the cliffhanger is Buu is even more powerful. Can Gotenks do it? Magan, you are correct. Next time we're going to cover Gotenks versus Buu, Fusion, more Fusion, Ultimate Gohan, and more. So we're probably going to get out of here now. It's late. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Check out Jordan's stream down below.
Yeah, check out my comic. We're putting out a couple pages either today or tomorrow, and one of them has Miras in it. So keep that. Get hyped. There's going to be some interesting, cool stuff happening in the comic. So,
yep. Anyways, y'all, anything else you want to close out with?
Nope. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon for volume 41 and then the end. I had a good time with this, bro, even though we went late.
Yeah, me too. See you guys.
Have a good one.